Oh,
morning sesh, tennis, evening leg sesh.
Dang.
So I'm like, no, I can't. Like, I gotta
chill out
do some R&R a little bit.
Your boy.
Mullen's taking out highs, Joseph.
Is it at
42.5.
Is it at $1 billion?
No, it's not at $1 billion.
All right, there you go.
It's taking out highs. Neil and Sean, take it over, boys.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
I mean, Mullen is. I mean, it was $30 last week.
Like you could.
Now it's $1.
It's $2.70 now because it's up 40%.
Yeah.
But anyways, we were just sort of talking about how there's like a hedgie out there somewhere that is like Mullen is putting my kids through college and then some, shorting it. Because yeah, everyone gets excited when it has an up day, but this was it was at $25, and then the next day you could have shorted the back end of it. It was at 15, and I didn't even realize it got under $2 and bounced. But I suspect there doesn't need to be a story. It's just, you know, Mullen doing some Mullen things, which is after it dies for a while, it picks up life. And when that happens, you know, congratulations to anybody. It looks like a story because there was no volume happening, and maybe it's just some short covering, something along those lines. I'm just in a couple Micron off VWAP. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and we're into Intel short just because that was relatively weak. But it's been a huge rally. I saw Joe talking about one that I didn't pay enough attention to, QUBT. Now, generally speaking, been trading a lot of, like recently, been looking at D-Wave. Like I tried QBTS off of VWAP at lunch, right when it was trying to trend in the volume weighted average price, and it broke down, and it looks like it was QUBT. That is the strong one that you got to be in here today, now breaking out. So it's not as if they're always running in concert. That's always good to know here. QUBT is leading the day when it comes to those quantum names. Disappointing because I thought QBT has had a good rally in it. Unfortunately, that didn't come to fruition. But there's so many big time movers. Just add this one to the list. Quantum names going earlier. Some of the nuclear names I believe are also going as well. At least a couple of them out there looking very strong. SMR, and of course that RM, the small capper, which was also making some power moves. Yeah, so a lot running. I'm not buying any Mullen. I'll probably pay for locates in case it does something stupid, and then just wait for it to look like it's made a top.
Okay. What's up, everybody? I still have a little bit of the same positions that we had earlier this morning. We've just been getting out of some AMD up here. It's nothing. I didn't put on anything new. During the midday, I didn't do anything. We still got Palantir and some AMD, but very, very small. The most interesting trade for me right now would be Tesla. I'm sure the boys were looking at this when I saw Joe in TSLL.
Yeah, so disappointing.
I don't know how successful or not those trades were, but this move was pretty choppy during the midday, so I'm not sure exactly what we were doing there. And I think if Joe was long, it might have been into this area right there, and then we just dropped out of it. So I'm just looking to say, like, that bottom right there, it's not quite there. So if you wanted to play off of something, I think you need to get a little bit lower into 326, maybe 327 flat, which we're coming into right now where you just bounced off of there. So yeah, I got my news of the ground here as well. And if we can find out, you know, whatever we can find out, we're going to find out today. So let's just stay patient as we can. And, you know, I heard Adara was dropping some news there a little bit, again, about some settlement in the Middle East again. I think that's going to be all day. And, you know, that's going to be sort of something that we look forward to. Not look forward to it, but look forward to hearing more about as we try to position ourselves into some trades today. So maybe the Nasdaq, I mean, I didn't think the Nasdaq would be up 1.4%, let alone 1.6% where we were up here near 22,000. I said this morning, what about 22,000? But I didn't actually think that 22,000 was a thing. But apparently now, Neil, it is. So yeah, I honestly, after what we saw or what we had witnessed, I guess on Friday there, I was not 100% sure where we would be today. I mean, there's the move down. We kind of bounced off of here for the Qs, which was pretty much weekly support, and boom to the upside as we had Michael Noss on earlier, and he was mentioning like just sort of quelling the craziness a little bit there that, hey, if you look at the weekly, we just had a little blip down, and right now we're covering it all back up and looking to take out 541, which is up here, and all-time highs. So yeah, maybe there's not a whole bunch to worry about here in the market other than political and I guess unrest in certain parts of this world as we wait for a response from the United States and Russia and all that. Apparently there's some talks there. And then PM Carney and Trump are trying to get together a little bit here to figure that out as well. So yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's upside right here
It's good
for the market.
Yeah, even if
Seems
there's
like
bad
it is.
news, you know,
It
it's
must be in the wrong chat because it's not moving.
if you think about it, we've talked about it before, like how much does what's going on geopolitically really affect chips and AI and some of the themes that are working? So, you know, ultimately it looks pretty good. I just noticed that this Voyager stock, Voyager, Voyager to nerds, Voyager, I didn't realize that made a high as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Like it's weird. It's done a couple million shares of volume. When I pulled it up, spread not that good, but the IPO game has been a good one. This is only interesting because it might have trapped people underneath $50 here for a little bit, and the reverse head and shoulders is on for Voyager because that's a heck of a reversal. I mean,
I like
pretty
that
much
stock.
exactly off of $50 to a T this morning. So that was a bit of a miss for sure. Obviously, the bigger and better IPOs recently, like Circle, did make a high at 165. So it did its topping tail, and its bounce was off the 150 level. So at least for now, Circle, and we said we'd look for what kind of even dollar support if it makes a down move it put in. Right now, that looks like 150 for Circle, up 17%. I do believe we've got Sharif locked and loaded.
I need to ask you because I have no idea what that. What did you say? Verger?
It's Voyager.
Voyager. What is that?
The really crappy original motion picture for Star
Trek.
Star Trek.
Okay.
Like it's I mean, whatever. The movie's like a million years old. I'm not spoiling anything. The whole point is that there's this like big, massive cloud which is like causing destruction, and they have to confront it. And they call it's called Voyager, but really inside of it is the Voyager satellite that we sent out. And so like, but it's just like all worn off and scratched, and all you see is the VG.
Maybe it's called the company's Voyager.
Yeah, because it's probably about the satellite.
I mean, it's a satellite company. It's a air defense company.
Yeah, it's got to be. The Voyager satellite was like the first one to leave the solar system or anything. Yeah.
Voyager.
By the way,
well, now we know.
No, but that movie.
The more you know, Andre. The more you know, Andre.
Worst Star Trek
I feel like
ever.
that's we had like 3 or 4 more you knows this morning.
Oh, I got the
now
best.
We have another one.
I got the best. The more you know.
Okay.
For anybody, if you happen to be a Star Trek fan, I'm just.
Is this the best?
Well, for myself as a Star Trek fan, because the dude, if you watch Voyager, which is Star Trek Voyager, the dude who plays Tuvok, almost unless you're a Star Trek fan, you wouldn't know who this guy is.
Right, Tuvok, got it.
But the dude Tim Russ who plays Tuvok, he is the guy from Spaceballs when they're combing the desert, and he's like, do we find anything yet? And then they have the regular comb, and it's like, no, we found nothing.
Okay.
You find anything yet? Regular comb, nothing. You find anything yet? And then it's the two brothers with the pick.
Yeah.
And he raised his helmet and says, we ain't found. You know what he said.
Okay.
And that's the dude. And he's like, I spent 8 years on a Star Trek show. I have 150 credits. And all anyone remembers is the one thing where I had 5 lines or 3 lines in the movie, whatever.
And the only thing that I remember from that is Tupac, but it wasn't Tupac, it was
Tuvok. Anyway, I love Voyager. That was a good show.
Yeah.
I'm
all right. Yeah, well, that is the more you know.
We ain't found. And there's a new Spaceballs coming out.
Yeah, there is. And then I think there's all these money grabs. There's that new Spaceballs. There's Happy Gilmore 2. There's a bunch of stuff that probably won't live up to their expectations.
I'm watching it. But Happy Gilmore 2, is that gonna be in theaters
Animal
or
House?
at Netflix or like something?
That's Netflix.
Yeah.
It's Netflix only, as far as I know.
I was gonna say, because
that Happy Gilmore Productions. I think everything that Adam Sandler does now.
Now Netflix.
Yeah, it goes straight to Netflix. So.
Like you're not gonna. I'm gonna stream that the first weekend.
Oh yeah. As soon as it's on, I'm not trying to hate on the show. I just think that's not going to be as good as the first one.
Oh hell no! It's probably gonna be terrible. Let's be real.
Alligators eating hands and all that kind of stuff, and that guy's passed away, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
Rest in peace, Carl.
Let's go find out something about Sharif and the rundown and what you guys voted on.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are locked and they're loaded and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you, but the only way to get those tickers up there. Join Joseph and I on the Midday Show and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers. It's a new way, guys. It's that $ and then basically whatever ticker you want, 3, 4, or even 5-letter tickers. So make sure you're voting, like and subscribe as well, guys. It certainly helps out the channel. Here's a look at all 4 major averages right now being led by the NQ and the Russell 2000 on the top left of your screen. The triple Q's up 1 1/3. The bottom left there showing you the Russell 2000 basically up 1 1/5. Good look for both major averages. The Dow and the ES below that 1% mark, but both in positive territory. Up 0.92 is the ES, 0.84 for the Dow, respectively. Let's look at the first ticker as decided by you guys, though. TSLA. Very good day on Friday. Look at that move up and to the right on Friday today, holding, the lows, but not necessarily as strong as we were on Friday. Still above that 320 area, trading about 1% higher on the back of this. The NHTSA eases regulations for autonomous vehicles, basically giving them a legal framework to follow as they try to achieve autonomy, guys.
Okay, quickly before we get into Tesla, and I understand why that one's on the list 100%, because it's a perplexing stock to a lot of people today. I just got out under VWAP on Micron. It seems like we're breaking down a little bit here, so not reloading. I had it once off VWAP. I don't think it's got the juice. I'm going to hang on to Intel for now. Didn't trade Tesla, and I said during the lesson of the day, I'm so glad I didn't trade it. It just didn't have a read on this. I came in here thinking bullish. When I looked at the 15-minute, it seemed to me like after the strong Friday and the good robo-taxi news, we get like a break, maybe even a breakout of 336 I had written down. And then when that couldn't even get going, it just flushed off the open. It couldn't retest the prior close down to 323 or 325 to 323. So it just sat here inside the range doing absolutely nothing. So we stayed away from it. Still an inside day for Tesla. I suppose you could see it maybe retest down at that low, 326, maybe you get a bounce there, but it's just a bearish looking name. I'd be more inclined, like if it's going to be this week, it's been telling you that the short's in here in the low 30s, and why not take a shot at that or maybe look at VWAP? I'm just disappointed. If it does get down to 323, 325, it'll be a much different story than if it done it at the open where you go dip and rip. So, the good news is you can still call this a consolidation of a bull move on Tesla. The bad news, just for it to sit out such a bullish day, I know it's up 1%, but effectively it sat out the bullish day, a bit disappointing. I like the fact that you're able to at least, for now, knock on wood, close green, and consolidations can be good too because they lead to breakouts, but that breakout is waiting another day. I still like the breakout through this top of the prior week highs, but obviously we didn't get it today, so we didn't take it.
Yeah, I'm thinking like when I look at this stock here, I was thinking, you talk about, being up for now. I'm not sure it's going to be up for too long, especially if this market does give up somehow, but the market's holding out pretty good. So for Tesla, and I think that because we're doing the new voting system, some of the names on there are going to be a little different because I think they just vote against each other, like a one-on-one. So whoever Tesla voted against would have got, because UNH was voted against MP Metals.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So that's one, no problem. This is where we're supposed to say get it, Adara, because she
get it, Adara.
Trades UNH.
Get it, Adara.
Not sure.
She's not sitting there.
It doesn't matter. You say it anyways all the time. Yeah. And then you just say get it, Sharif, as well. But that's their thing. We'll leave it. We'll leave it there. But no, for me, for Tesla, I mean, yeah, for me, I'm not getting it at all today. I don't think there's much going on right now for TSLA. Up 1% on the day. Looks pretty comfortable here. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's not enough news, I guess. I thought there could have been more here. I mean, I did have it on our list. I was looking for 330 or 336 high break from last week. It doesn't look like we really are going to get too much of any of those. Like the 330 has just been the magnet. I mean, that's where VWAP is right now. So, good talks today about the trade, but nothing really happening here on Tesla. For me, there's better days to trade it. And today's doesn't look to be one of them to me. So I'm going to pass on Tesla and then just wait. I mean, I still think that 336 is the better trade. Just wait for it to come up there. We haven't had that chance. The pre-market break really didn't do anything, and then we haven't even broke Friday where I thought could have been another one there. So I would just let this settle in. Hopefully tomorrow we can open up above 333 or in that area, and then we can have our sights set right here, right now on that weekly high break of 336. So for me, that's what we're going to do is wait on Tesla. It's not interesting enough for me down here. 325 again is different. So if we can get there, then I think that's a go. But for now, you know, sitting on your hands for Tesla, I don't think there's, I don't think that's a bad strategy. Cash right now, if you're looking at Tesla trade, just wait. The time will come.
All right, guys, UNH really selling off again, guys, to the tune of 2%. There's no major catalyst on the day, but we saw the departure of their CFO, as well as some agencies saying that they may no longer look to do business with UNH, guys. The market not liking that, down into 307, but above 300.
Yeah, it's just, look, it's in a bit of a stair-step pattern here, a very small range for UNH. So I know, look, a lot of people bought the dips on UNH in the middle of May there. And if you were really, really patient, like not trying to buy the extended move, you waited, you bought on the second day, or you bought when it pulled back in, maybe you got some 90s. Otherwise, you could have something in the 305 range. All those prices still look good, but you got to really squint to see any movement. Until it breaks, it's like let me just go back to here, 327, 328 maybe? They call it 327. That's when it can at least test and try to break some of this gap. I think that's where I want to get some out when it's breaking through that gap fill. Until that happens, and it's a long way away from it, it's nothing too much to get excited about. So it's got a head and shoulders on it right now. If you're in the short term, what I mean by that on the 15-minute, you can kind of see there's the one shoulder. It broke down without even really holding the other. A bit of a slump look going on. So 310 looks like a pretty key level here for UNH to be able to chew through, and then 300 probably your next support. I think when we've seen tech work, sometimes the space has been a little bit weak here for healthcare, unless you're HIMSS right now, which got all of the attention. So this is probably a very slow grind without a catalyst for the next leg up, but it's still very much in the midst of that recovery after things fell apart and it got down underneath the 300 level. It's not much of a day trade. I think it's a hold. If you bought those lows from before, you haven't had too much of a reason to get out, but there's also no excitement in it either.
Yeah, all right, hold on a second here. I'm gonna tell my wife something I don't want to forget. Cylinders. Okay, so quickly here, XLV, the financial, XBI, the biotech, but XLV, the healthcare. So just if you wanted to, play the space, but not really have as much exposure to UNH themselves, there's Humana, there's a couple different names that are in the healthcare space. So this would be one that obviously got hit during all this downside on UNH, and right now we broke above the 50-period moving average. So if UNH is on the way back up, probably the whole space would be as well. So I think just to be a little safer, if you did want so Neil talked about some day trades and possible, ideas around current levels. I'm just going to say for an investment for long term, I think this got a good, I don't want to say it's an all clear, but above the 50 period is always pretty good. So, we made it back there. We're trying to hold, I would say 135 to 134, right into here, a decent spot to either start a position or add to one if you were excited about it. That is your XLV, the healthcare ETF. So go have a look at that one if you're so inclined. But okay, there it is. Now it's Palantir, something that I can talk about because we traded a little bit of that today.
All right, Palantir, no specific catalyst today, guys, but making yet another all-time high. One has to assume, though, obviously the issues in the Middle East are helping propel this one as it's very military adjacent. Want to bring this to your attention as well. Anduril founder Palmer Luckey, as well as Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale, looking at investing in a crypto-friendly startup bank to basically help out Silicon Valley, reporting the New York Post, guys. Obviously not related to Palantir, just thought I'd let you know.
Okay, well, yeah, this wasn't on our watch list or anything like that, but it was the #1 trade today on the sticky note. So I'm just going to hit that thing right there. There it is, man. Palantir 140 long. This opened up at all-time highs. I said it should be watched closely. Any dips to like 139.50, we were like, okay, but we didn't even get anywhere. Wow. I guess we got close to that. But we were just sitting at 140, man. It came in right away. We took that long, and I say the rest is history all the time, but this was giving us 50 cents worth of space. We just told you 139 was what we were looking at to break out. So 50 cents worth of space, went up $4, continues to climb higher. I just think that, they're a play on defense, they're a play on immigration. They're just anything that basically the Trump administration is trying to enforce right now. Palantir, because of big data and because of the approvals they have for their foundry and everything like that. I said already last week that I thought that they had one of the biggest moats around them, period. right now. And that's also why I like Big Bear AI. I think there's some good opportunity for both of these companies to continue to grow, you know, despite whatever the PEs are. There is no PE for Big Bear, but for Palantir right now. So, you know, it's a great trade. It got going real early. It's very difficult. And I only had half of a unit here, so it's not, you know, but still, my number one stock P&L, I've only traded two, it would be AMD, but this is a really good second place, man. It just took off. We started getting some out, always near, you know, some kind of highs that we think anyways, and that was 143. Then we touched out at 145, so we've got some good fills there. Palantir up 4% and just continuous to go. Like, again, with everything happening in the Middle East, felt like this was a little bit of an easier trade to make today, and that's what I'm looking to do, make easy trades as possible. And Palantir today just made sense, and after cents, it made dollars. So there it goes, Palantir, a good trade to the upside this morning, and hasn't done much since. So we'll just continue to watch it. I think a 143.50 break gets this name going back up to highs. I'll probably trade that breakout, 143.50 right here. If we can break above this little area, then we'll go long, and we'll see if we can do some more damage on PLTR.
Yeah, Palantir in this portion of the show brought to you by VinFast as they just dropped their Q1 2025 earnings. Revenue's up 150% year over year, and they've made a big jump on gross margins, now from minus 35% up from the negative 59% they were at last year. That's thanks to tighter cost control and growing scale. The company's global push continues, rolling out new products, new dealerships, and expanding their green mobility ecosystem. Shout out to VinFast. You can scan the QR code out in front of you to get more information. And let's give a shout out to Nimrod as well. Thank you very much, Nimrod. I see B-Day membership drop at 9:30. If you want to get one, you must subscribe to the channel first. Not sure what time that is. It's probably locally for you, so I don't know what time you mean here, Eastern time. Maybe drop that in there for us, Nimrod. Appreciate you so much. Shout out to Nimrod. If it's your birthday, happy birthday as well, Nimrod. I'm assuming that's why you were doing the membership drop. Always a fantastic member of the community. We appreciate you a lot there. I don't really have much to add on Palantir. Like I had in my note Palantir 138.5 to 139. It didn't get down there for a dip buy. It hasn't done much, but it does look like it has one of those late day rallies, and it did one on Friday. That was more of a, like it was like a VWAP play on Friday. You got the dip, it broke the trend down in here, it gave you one look to kind of break out and, you know, went 137 something to 138.5. So I think it has something like that potentially in it, but that was different. It was kind of coming off a downtrend and broke that trend. But holding VWAP looks nice for Palantir.
Guys, great look today for AMD. What a move up, guys. Are we above 10? No, we're 9 1/3. We were above 10 momentarily. Piper saying they're liking AMD, reiterating their outperform rating, but boosting that price target, boys, from 125 to 140.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought AMD? So we put your hands up for that one. I mean, there it is, man. I mean, this was written down. We love this trade today. 118, gimme, down there. Give me that 120 break, and then boom, upside for AMD. Again, like, it's just like there's going to be love for certain names on certain days. And I mean, I wish I had sort of that crystal ball, but I think the playbook that we have is pretty darn good, right? I mean, I'm waiting for names to come up. It was on our watch list today. I had just written down on here, I mean, we wrote down this long, so it's $8 off of our sticky note. Just a key level break here, upgrades, plus that new product drop last week. That's all that we wrote down, man, and it was pretty simple. So if we're just going to forget about the trade, whatever, man, it's $7, it's huge, it's what it is. You guys heard me say that all morning. But it was just like breaking through 120. I kind of zoomed out, looked at these levels, and there it goes, man, right there into 120. So I was like, if we break that, I mean, 120, 150 would have been good. Like 123 would have been good. 124, heck, that was great. You know, but what about this move upside right now? So we just started to clean out a lot of this trade here at 123. So realistically, that was $5 on some, $3 on others. And then as we started to go back up to the upside, the reason why our net is really well today is we were able to hold a decent amount for the upside push there on AMD. But shout out to Ryan Nola, who's apparently now asked 3 times. So I'm going to answer your question here in the chat about NVIDIA. You just want to see how NVIDIA looks. I've mentioned it was not on my radar today just because I thought AMD for some reason I came in and I don't normally trade AMD, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a look at AMD. Yeah, it's not there yet, Ryan, in my opinion. Like that breakout, right here, you're gonna get up. I mean, to me, this looks real healthy. I prefer calls in this over AMD. It's just, I don't know if it's ready yet. Like I think tomorrow, if we can start the day in this 148 to 150 area, then we will take out this all-time high of 154 tomorrow. So I really, really like the stock. I think it's really traded well off that 200 period moving average. Since we broke through 130, like that kind of looks like a great level as well. So I think this continues to work. I don't really see too much negative headwinds as far as NVIDIA is concerned. They're adjusting their new chips for China. Feel like this whole Trump-China thing will get resolved, tariffs eventually. And that's the best news that we could hear, right, is that something has been figured out. So let's just wait to see if NVIDIA can get going or not. But for me, I'd wait for it. I just want to see like a 1.4, like the minute we see 149, like 148, like that 150 is going to have tons of size on it. But once it blasts through that, then it's up and away, right? So yeah, I really like NVIDIA here. I can't see too much in the fault way for trading this one. So great look there. As long as it holds view up, I think you're fine for today. But I mean, I think NVIDIA is going to all-time highs this week. So let's just wait to see if that is the case. It's about 6% away from here. So if we can get that, then
its only problem is that all of the other chip names were nowhere close to their all-time highs, right? So it's just like NVIDIA had almost nowhere to go. Broadcom is another example. But I've been talking about like the whether it's Marvell, whether it's AMD, whether it's Micron, even Intel was up today. You go down the list of the other chip names. AMD is breaking. They broke the trend line a while ago, but the next step is holding above that 200 period moving average, and then it's seemingly like a straight shot to make a test of like 50 and the 70 levels, at least technically, for advanced micro devices. And you can look at when you look at like the SMH here, load. Come on, there you go. When you look at the SMH, it's been powerhouse. Remember, SMH has more NVIDIA in it. You are in a potential breakaway back to the highs for SMH. It's like one little hump, maybe not this 266 that it has to get through, this 270, and then you've got the test of the big double top coming in. So the chips look incredibly strong today. I was on MU. Probably could have done better with MU today. Did not get into the top at 121. We went long 118. It's now under VWAP, by the way. So I'm not as big a fan of it underneath the volume weighted average price when the market's holding over. But I'm not shorting it. I'm just not going to be in the long this afternoon because this one is broken down underneath the volume weighted average price.
Shout out, I'm going to do that in 1 second here. I just want to shout out to Scott Angel. We should have done that, sorry. Palantir average cost $18.73. Congratulations, Scott, there. That's probably, I was buying on the way up. That's probably pretty close to something similar. So great little look there. But let's go over now. Oragenics. I mean, each year 3.8 million concussions are reported in the US, yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Oragenics, symbol OGEN, is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion, probably going way higher than that, by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today and scan that QR code to learn more about Oragenics. So yeah, that's a very interesting topics there, and we'll cover more about OGen as we go on. So thanks, OGen, for sponsoring this segment. And let's go see what Sharif has to say about QUBT.
Oh, quantum.
Rocketing up, Sean. Very aggressive. Can't see the chart, but it's okay. QUBT, guys, no main headline today for quantum, but it's getting into those technical levels. Again, keep your eyes on some sympathy plays, QBTS, IONQ, and I'm sure the boys will outline some more.
Okay. Oh, just one thing. I want to actually maybe you do this with QUBT because Naveen in the chat was asking how do you draw a trend line on AMD. Drawing any trend line to me should be obvious. Like you can look and see that something's in an upward or a downward trend, but it's at the point where you have multiple points of contact to confirm it. If on an intraday, it's got to be at least like 3. So like if I was looking at a trend line for QUBT, it doesn't have a good one off the open. That much is pretty clear. But since VWAP, like it's got, you can connect the dots in here, and you got 1, 2 dips, then you have this holding. So you've got, to me, a trend line from the volume weighted average price. Now, the way that works back to AMD is you look at it making a bunch of lower highs. It's pretty obvious once you start making these same lower lows that you've got a bottoming trend, and you can connect it and always connect to as many parts as possible. There's your trend line. It tried to close above, which is oddly enough the bottom. When it finally held underneath the trend line and then had this reversal, that was a big reversal under that trend. And the top end of it here, it's not clean until this topping tail when it loses the 200 period moving average, and then it's something along the lines of connect as many points as possible. Its first attempt to break out was a failure, just like the bottom. But that's the general trend with something like this on AMD. And usually you want to connect as many points as possible. Sometimes you get false breakouts, like it did there above the 50 period moving average. But just back to QUBT, absolute rocket ship, and it stood alone because QBTS, D-Wave, which has been a fantastic quantum name, did not want to participate. Right here, right now, the $21 levels being tested. It's the higher low from back in December of last year. Had to look down and check to make sure that was exactly when it was. So it's at a big inflection point, consolidating off top. Like last 2 weeks' highs, go back to December, the higher low at that 21, a little bit of resistance. You can already see it checking off a little bit. I think if it can take out this top, it's still got some room to rally for QUBT. Distinctly different, up 25% from some of the other quantum names, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay, I am getting out some more of AMD right now as we are trying to break a little bit lower here. I don't use lines like that. I just use support and resistance levels. So right here, 126. If we break VWAP of 125.70, let's just get out. Well, that's already where my sell is, actually. So, wow. I already had to sell at 125.80, so let's do that again. 125.79. I just canceled it because I have less shares now. We'll get rid of 100% of this if it does break back down below VWAP. We have less than 5% of both of the positions that we're currently in, so let's look for some more. What about GameStop? We had traded GameStop last week. We really love that 21.50 area. We talked about that. There was some big buyer there. It kind of looked like it was frozen in time, and then it popped up. So that 21.50 is definitely a downside area of support. I mean, if you can get anything into 22 bucks, I think that's fantastic right now. GameStop, again, up 4.5%. They had a pretty bad report, but then they dropped, well, again, their EPS was better than expected, and their sales were lower, which wasn't great. And then we know that they've stepped into Bitcoin at a lower price than where it is right here. And then we had a 1.75 billion, I think, convertible note offering that happened on Thursday or Friday, which sent this thing all the way down, right? And so right now, that's they're working their way through that offer, and we're going to wait to see now where GameStop wants to go. And if I just sort of zoom back out a little bit, we are getting close. That is one, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here. That level right there, okay, that's 23.50. I like 50 levels. Now let me see if we zoom it back out. If we take that, yeah, I mean, 24, I would much rather us be here breaking, and then we have that gap right here that probably fills on a break if we don't do it overnight. So I think that, you know, waiting for GameStop in and around $24 is maybe a little bit of a better trade than trying to push this going through 23.50. But 23.50 up to 24 is not, what are we at now, 23.20? Okay, so that's something to look forward to if that can happen here this afternoon. A 23.50 right now. Hey, what's up, Naveen? You want me to look at, okay, yeah, so, all right, like I said, this AMD stock is huge for me today, right? I have very few shares left. If I had lots of shares, Naveen and everybody in the chat there, then yeah, like you're 100% right. This is a good level to break through, and if we come back in, then let's get out. That is why I did take out a little piece here. So great minds think alike, Naveen, so don't think like me. But right into there, I think that that's a good spot. That's why I did it. And now I'm just going to try to wait for the rest to come up here to 128. Or if we lose downside, then we do have that 125.50 of VWAP or 125.80 that we would look at. If I actually had still a significant position, then I would be getting more out right now because we're underneath the 200 and underneath the 50. So this is why I do think it's important. And we don't talk about the straight share sizes that we have, but want to tell you, like, whenever I don't have that many shares or anything like that, and we're getting a little bit, it's not being lazy or anything with our stops. It's just, I'm just going to let it go now, because if we can get up to that spot, great. And if we fall back down here, fine. It doesn't really hurt either way. I'd rather play for the upside than really worry about the downside. So for me, that's what I'm going to be looking at there on AMD, which is why I'm doing that. We've already pegged 330 as such a key level for Tesla. So when I go over to it and I see 330, I just like, great. Like, that was what we looked for early. And early, it was fantastic. In the first half hour, like, I can't predict. When I write this stick, I can't predict what's going to be happening at 2:30 that afternoon. But when I'm writing it at 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, and we're coming in on the show, we can look at some levels. And I really like 330. Well, 330 was absolutely fantastic. When it came in, look at it, ran all the way down. It gave you 350 immediately short. Then it popped back up. Where did it stop? 330. Then it dropped another $2 off of 330. Let's zoom this in. So this is how good that 330 level was early on. There, I mean, boom, breaks it, $3 to the downside. Rips right back, magically stops at 330, drops down another 250. Comes back, magically stops again at 330, down another 350. So this trade alone gave you $12 off the open in a $4 range. So good job there. $4 3 times to give us $12. And since then, it's kind of just been like doing its thing. So if you're going to play around with it this level, fine. I just don't see for myself, I don't see too much value right here until we either get to the top, where I think it's a good short up here at 332, just to like dare it to break that high. That gives you $1, probably $1 on Tesla, definitely worth that risk. Or you can wait to see if the market does collapse and fall back into 326, 327. So those are the trades for me for Tesla. So stuck in the middle, something now not that interested in, but oh boy, here we go. Couple good ideas lately, man, with this and Marvell. Let's go over and find out what happens with Big Bear AI, man. We talked about buying this thing around that 370 area. We talked about it the last couple weeks. Got a buddy into it. He's loving life on this right now. But there's the move up to 408. It's a good day for Big Bear AI on no news. So we'll wait to see if this thing can pop through again. We haven't been up here in a minute, so the 5-minute chart doesn't do too much. In the daily chart, we're just waiting for that pop, because when we get it, I do think this is imminent. So we're going to wait for that. Through 450 is the trade that we're looking for. Through 450 gets us to 6, I think. And then that's where I'll start to exit some of the position around $6 with a total target in and around 8. So this is what I'm looking for on Big Bear AI. If you want to join me on that, great. I was talking the same way about Palantir.
Looks like Webull just broke the high of the day. I saw in the chat, you can put it 1 or 2 times, it's all good. Roy in the chat mentioning this name. Hey, bouncing off the $10 level. Why does it matter? I mean, look at the daily chart. It's just when it came to market, you got the 10 bounce. It's now consolidating at that price area. So seemingly bouncing, but remember, making slightly lower highs with each, like last week's double bottom, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago, the double bottom there at 1040, and then you had a double bottom here at 1020. So it is trending to the downside while trying to break back out. I think once this gets above about 1150, you see a little bit more juice in the trade. So I still think it's in a downward push. I'm not adding to this thing until I see a real test of the $10 level and give it some time. If I'm looking to get into a position and take like 20-25%, I'm usually waiting for something distinct, either the next earnings report, a catalyst, a big move, or some kind of a setup on the chart, or just wait a couple of months in the long term. So Webull looking pretty solid. I was going to go over to Bitcoin just very quickly, because this is still, like, we're holding 108 right now on Bitcoin, and it doesn't seem, it's not really doing that much, but it's holding this trend pretty well. And it feels like one of those, if you can just dip back into the prior highs, just go dip and rip here on IBIT. Will be the name of the game. Super strong name. You can throw a bunch of like, GME is an example of a kind of Bitcoin related stock. It's doing well. Robinhood's up 5%. This has a quadruple top right now at 76.4 on Robinhood. So if we do, let me get this market can get off its you know what, the Nasdaq's actually slightly pressing down into the volume weighted average price. If we can start to bounce off VWAP and maybe look a little bit stronger for the afternoon, Robinhood seems prime for breakout. I don't want to be taking this breakout in the clear when there's resistance, when I'm looking at the futures and they're kind of trending down. The only thing I'm still in I mentioned that Intel. Someone asked, did you get into it much earlier? Well, a couple of times. One time at 1 o'clock. It's bouncing off VWAP as we speak. So short into VWAP the first time, stopped out break even, then got back in again off the 90 level with an 88 short. And if it gets back up there again, my trail's in here just around the 80 level, and I would try to get back in off that high. So just playing inside of the range to the south side for that name. Yeah, but I like the look in IBIT for a dip buy and see if we can't pick something up. If this pulls back into about 61.25-ish on IBIT. I mean, I don't know what that works out to in Bitcoin prices, but we get down there, I'll start looking to see if we can't get the bid. Well, we're also mentioning that Coinbase is looking strong. You got to pick it, pick yours, right? Like Coinbase having a good day, the market's having a good day, Robinhood's having a really good day, so it makes sense. And Coinbase 7.5%, so a little bit. It's having a great day for Coinbase. I haven't touched this thing. I think someone asked us about it at 250 this morning. No, it wasn't. No. I think when we talked about it, we're like, yeah, the 250 break was clean, but we were probably asked about it a little bit later on. It still has. Actually, right here, like 262, rounded bottom into 262 looks like a pretty solid breakout level. Maybe a little bit higher than that for Coinbase. It's got some room. It's got room to about 270, 272 here on the daily chart, and strong name. You just kind of pick your spot. Coinbase, like a lot of the crypto names, looking absolutely fantastic. We haven't gotten our test of Bitcoin's all-time high or fresh new all-time high yet. I still think we're getting there. We're wrong about, kind of wrong about getting it this weekend, but when that call was made, didn't really know what was going to end up happening last week in the world, which hurt that call a lot. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you guys last week, man, we bought some more at 105. We bought some more at 103. I'm getting long Bitcoin more and more every day. And that's just what I'm doing. So JP Morgan, again, talking about one financial to another here, Bitcoin to JP Morgan. No, we're going to wait back above 270. We sold some at 268. Proclamation, Trump expecting to sign something in a couple of days. So right there, proclamation of UK trade, beef, steel, and ethanol. So, all right, so 270, we're now above there for JP Morgan. It came across the scanner right here because we are back down into VWAP right now. So generally that's a good area, and it looks like it's bouncing here off of said good area. So nice move there for JP Morgan, bouncing off 270. VWAP is not 270, it's like 270 30s. So nice move there. Maybe we'll get that to come back in. But the name that's moving off or going into, and I think going to make new all-time highs at some point here would be, I'm not sure this is the all-time highs, but 52-week highs, 77.80 for Robinhood. So that was that little move right there, 77.80. We ticked up to that. So if you can see Robinhood now trying to get above all of these levels, this is sort of why, I thought Webull has a good opportunity to do something similar to this. Where it just does nothing for a long time. Robinhood was up here, then it was went down to like a $5 stock, and now you're up to 70 and change, $76 looking to take out highs, and still, man, the momentum on this name continues to get through the roof here. And this is, again, a great 76.50. What about just breaking that long and going long? I think that's going to be a trade for me right here that we're going to be putting on immediately. So 76.50 good. Watch the fake and break, the break and fake. Sorry, it's something that I've sort of coined right there. And if we can do that, then there's the break, right? And then there's the fake back down in. So this could break, come back into 76 or 76.50. So I'm going to take that trade. I'm going to lock and load that right now. Let's punch it for a unit through this area, and then let's load up to like 4 or 5 units if it does pull back into $76. So this is the thing, man. These are the trades I'm looking for. They've been working, and AMD gave us something very similar to that off the open right here, where first of all, this is just a trade that we were sitting there at 118 because we had talked about it and we liked it. So that came in, boom. You never know what those feels. That's why when it went up and we automatically were getting out at 119s and stuff, I was like, I'll take it. But then there's that move right there. This was the one that we actually had written down as our number 2 trade. Our number 1 trade today was 140 long on Palantir. Our number 2 trade is Tesla, which didn't didn't trigger. Our number 3 trade is this one right here, the 120, and they're not listed in order of priority. It's just sort of how I'll look at them as the market opens up. But right there's the 120 break. It happens at 9:33, so a little bit early for a break, but whatever. If I'm doing the work and it's going to break, then I'm going to take. And then there's the fake. So break, take, fake. Remember what we're talking about. There it comes down into VWAP. It goes down about 50 cents, and then pop goes the weasel there to the upside. So if you missed the 120, you had lots of opportunities to get it again right back in there. So that's kind of the play that we'll do for Robinhood. Just, you guys, the viewers always talk about how, one of the most important things, obviously, is the education that we're doing here. So there's where it would be for me again. There's the break, right? And then if there's a fake, then it'll come back into this area. So 76.50, looking for a breakout long here on Robinhood into the afternoon.
Yeah, I like those fake breakouts because they give you good, real, like really good dip buys. I'm sitting, I like Robinhood too. I like the 76 on the dip. I actually prefer the dip buy because I think the market's coming down right now, so I kind of felt because of that we'd get a dip first and not a breakout. So I want to see if we can't pick that one up. I have Apple up right now, and the market's trying to roll over a little bit here. We talked about this morning. Look, as far as Mag 7 names go, downward sloping under the 50-period moving average just to get the longer time frame first, and wide favor shorts in an upward day. Couldn't break out the morning highs. Still support at 197. Never bullish enough on the stock to buy it down there. I think we did one time on. Actually, no, that's not true. We had a long on Friday on it, but that's fine. I'm looking for this one as a fade, but I'd like to see it actually break down. If we break down underneath VWAP, then this is the name I want to get involved in. If this market's going to be weak, then to me, this is a relatively weak stock here for sure. Just want to try to see if we can't grab that bad boy. And I think that analysis and this segment brought to you by Prop XP. Level up your trading game with Prop XP. Up to 1 to 200 leverage and a static shutdown. Or drawdown, sorry. Scroll the site and pick your challenge at propxp.com. Trade directly on the platform. Sign up, try it for free, and start your trading journey. Enjoy rapid payouts and real human support, no bots. Rated 4.6 stars on Trustpilot, trusted by traders worldwide. Right now, get 50% off with the code TraderTV. The link is in the description. Be the trader, get funded, join PropXP today. Your edge starts there. Visit propxp.com, everybody.
Shout out to Nimrod here in the chat. 100 memberships.
There it is.
100 memberships times $5.
Happy birthday, Nimrod.
Happy birthday to us, it seems like. Thank you so much from all the viewers to you. That means a lot. And of course, happy birthday. I mean, that is an absolutely amazing super chat. That's like $500 right there. And you're doing better than giving the 500 because you're including everybody with us. So thank you so much for all of that, man. That is amazing. Like $500. Wow. Thank you again for all of that. US dollars too. So obviously us here in Canada. I believe you're Israeli. Sometimes you talk about the shekels and stuff like that. So thank you so much for that. It means a lot. And a big happy birthday. Drop your age. No, if you just want to see. But thank you so much.
25. Nimrod.
25. Yeah, always be 25 forever for sure. So again, thank you so much. It means a lot to us and to the community. So from us to you, thank you. So much. And here, I'll show it right on the screen. If you guys are not members yet, get it immediately right now. Thank you so much for, again, supporting the channel. And that's it, man. Yeah, that's my thoughts too. Money, 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 money. Great trading from Nimrod. He sometimes will put in some of the trades that he makes as well. And yeah, big one there. Thank you so much for that. It's overwhelming when we see stuff like that.
Oh, that's a great number, Nimrod.
What is it?
It says 42. Wasn't afraid to say it. That's my
there
favorite.
You go. Yeah, you should never be afraid.
That's my favorite number. Hey, you're a little younger than us, but great number, that 42. So enjoy it. I mean, you got a long way ahead, and we've got a lot more to accomplish here for sure. Unfortunately, accomplishing nothing but breaking the low of the day. I just noticed this one. Oracle breaking down a bit. Now, granted, Oracle had things on its back for the back half of last week. It completely refused to go down, regardless of any of the headlines that we had last week. But yeah, if you're looking for something, like I was looking at, obviously, Apple just now, which is relatively weak. compared to the market. Oracle breaking through the bottom. A gap fill is tremendous, but if you go to the afternoon highs from Friday, obviously, 209 looks like the next stop for Oracle here. So not necessarily, I mean, it's not flying around. The volume's actually not even all that great, but breaking down a bit. I think this can give you some good opportunities to not have to chase this big of a move. If it can pull back in, maybe retest the prior high, that gives anybody that didn't want to chase this $45 move in the last 4 sessions or 3.5 sessions for Oracle, it gives you a bit of a pullback into the prior high, potentially here going on for that name. All right, so Robinhood's trying to get to 76, but it's not quite there yet. And Apple still cruising towards a volume-weighted average price, but holding up. Nasdaq's at VWAP right now, and this is kind of holding above there. So maybe this isn't going to be the one to break down. I have to find something else that's looking a little weaker relative to the market that's breaking through.
5,400 of you watching right now, okay? There's almost as many likes as Nimrod's dropped gifts. So, I mean, if you just got a gift from Nimrod there to become a member, hit the like button. Like, let's go, man. Do it for Nimrod's birthday. That's it. Like, we should be able to get 1,000. It's 5,400 of you watching. Let's see if we can get that number really ramped up right here immediately on the stream. So, I feel like the next time I check that's probably going to be 800 or 900. We want to thank all of you for all of that. Also, I want to know which large language model you guys are using more to, cheat on your essays and do things like that, or write letters to people you don't want to, or whatever you guys are all using it for. I was only thinking because, like, right now we got for the show, we're Google Premium or something like that. So we have the Gemini Pro. So the G Suite there. So I just want to know, like, are you guys using anything, paid model, paid version, ChatGPT Plus or whatever it is, or anything like that? Or if you guys are Perplexity, they all have a paid model. And if you've used them all that are paid models, which one do you prefer? Because I'm just trying to use some things here for Gemini and see if that's any good. Because again, we have that Pro version. So wondering how that was looking for many of you as well. Okay, so DKNG, just real quick here. This was a good one, man. We actually left an order in there and got filled, and it was a level that we put in, and we did put it in pretty recently, and it's been popping off of there. So we're actually long down into here, like 33.50, 33.75. We tried to go long into this area. We knew that we wanted that, and so we had put it in. I think it was when we started to move back upside right into there, and then we fell back and we got long down into here on DraftKings. So this is not a new position of mine. I've been a trader in DraftKings for a long time, even back when I think this was a SPAC back in the day, and it really started ripping upside. But I really thought that this was going to be a good level, and I'm glad that I did have one of Neil's infamous stink bids down here on DraftKings. So we're long into this area. I'm going to have to find out exactly where it was, because just put a random bid there. I always do 50, so I would probably say it's probably 33.50. I think if I'm lucky, it's going to be 32. It's probably 32.50 actually. Not not 34.50. No, if it was, then that would be fine. But yeah, no, it's because right into there, that's 32.50. Yeah, so I'm going to say that this is where we got filled right into there, and we were just lazy on it, and I didn't even realize that when this Trump this is just. Sometimes you get lucky, and I'm telling you that's what we were doing. And we got hit, I guess, during this whole tariff move, and then right there back up to the upside. It wasn't a huge position or anything like that, but like a starter position again on DraftKings, because we were long down here on DKNG, and I remember talking about it. At that point, I was like, maybe $10 is going to be like one of the greatest trades on DKNG. Now, there's other stocks that have gone up more than 5x since that trade, but this did go from, and I remember when I was down here, man, looking at this is the first time I had gotten in, and then we had gotten out in this area. We let it sort of come back, and when it fell back in, I was like, we're going to be getting out, and that's when I put an order back into here, because it was a name that I like. Similarly to Uber as well, thinking about that one, trying to maybe get out of some Uber, because this name just keeps on stopping in and around that $90 mark. 87 to 90 has been a good move for I don't know how long this is going to take for this chart to load up, but you're going to see some past highs up into this area as well. So, right now, Uber looking like it wants to fade back out a little bit. Yeah, there it is. I guess that's it right there. That's as high as we got. There's 87. Yeah, so 87 was the past high. We spent about a week above that area, and now we're right there again. So, yeah, I think a 90 out for maybe a third of the position. Then you're kind of playing with house money from that point forward because we're long down into here. This was one that we didn't buy more of during tariff time, but it would have been a good decision for sure. I mean, everything would have been when Trump was putting out, that's January, so it was right into here was tariffs, but putting out the all clear buy signal. Still can't believe that was kind of something that happened, but it did happen. And
what times
it's not even like he's gotten any deals since then. It's just the market has done the taco trade, right? I mean, it's just like whenever there's a threat of a new tariff, just get in there and buy. Because the market will react, because the algos will kick in, and then lighter heads, or I don't know what will prevail, but hopefully that's what winds up prevailing. And you've seen that also happen here for Tesla. Like Tesla, they had that little teenage spat back and forth. That was fun. They're regaining their teen years or whatever. And then all of a sudden, they settled down and was like, okay, well, we're both, or at least one of us is a billionaire. I'm not sure if Trump is, but he will definitely be after selling, the Trump phone. I mean, that should be
$4.99 a pop, baby.
I don't know.
But you know what actually prevails?
Who's it going in that with, by the way?
That's what I was curious. I'm like, who's making the phone? I'd love to know that.
Like, who's calling that phone, right? Like, people are wondering about that.
But what's interesting, when it comes to deal making, when it comes to them making up, there's something to be said about the reliability of someone with a profit mentality. Why? Because you can, generally speaking, you can trust them to behave in a certain way, which is in their best interest of their wallet. So I think that's why you're gonna get deals done, because everyone understands if we don't deal with the U.S., then everybody loses. So deals will get done, whether we end up liking them or not, who knows? So we're gonna get some calm here. I think that's why the spat ended up the way it was, getting resolved. But wow, we're bouncing right back. I mean, the Nasdaq just bounced off VWAP. IBIT just broke the highs, and Bitcoin just broke its highs, I should say, just to be a little bit more clear. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave orders in here because we haven't broken the top on Robinhood, trying to get back in on that 76 level. It just bounced relatively cleanly off of that level, and I was trying to catch it on the way back up. A little trend reversal, did not get it. But I'll leave the bids in there with the stop underneath, it's like 90-something in here. So until we've broken out that high, I still want to get a bit of a higher low if we can, but it might just be the Bitcoin story at this point. This is already breaking out the high and looking incredibly strong. It's only up 3%, but remember, it's Bitcoin's not moving 10% intraday. It doesn't really do those types of moves anymore. We have a lot of room for it to just slowly grind higher. If I don't get Robinhood, I'm going to buy the first available dip here in Bitcoin. Just play the trend. The trend is your friend till the end. If it bends at some point, fair enough. And like I said, I have a trailing stop since Intel got to the volume-weighted average price. That should take care of itself for sure. Will saying Amazon. Beast.
Of Amazon.
Beast. Almost high of the day here on Amazon. Where is that top? My chart must be wrong. That says 216.5 here, it looks like, is the current high. Must have been like an overnight wick that's telling me it's closer to 217 on my level 2. But wow, nice looking top here for a double top break on Amazon. I like Meta a little bit better this morning, but I guess this one is the one that's going. I want to see if I can't get IBIT before it's gone too far. But great look, Amazon's about to break its high of the day in about 15 cents, or 10 cents or so, based on that candle, looking incredibly strong. But it's IBIT or Bitcoin that's on my mind via either Robinhood on the dip into 76 or pull back into this prior high at the 50s. Here on IBIT. Like it. Abhishek in the chat saying JP Morgan just filed a trademark for what looks like a crypto stablecoin called JPMD. Everyone wants in this game. Everybody wants in this game. We're talking about this with Walmart and, we were just mentioning Amazon actually, with Walmart and Amazon. Everyone wants to be able to get in the game so that they can have a piece of the pie. The other thing that I think might be going on is you get the proliferation of more U.S. dollar denominated stable coins. It gives another way for foreign governments to be invested in the U.S. It's like, we'll buy up some of these stable coins. And then that's another way for you to use your U.S. dollars. And obviously, the president is all about stablecoins as well. So I think there's going to be something to that. And I wonder if you see some of that baked into the back end of some of these deals. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. But just be careful with some of the, I don't know, like if JP Morgan has a stablecoin, I'm not worried about it. But some of the other products that are going around here are the companies that are getting into random, let's just buy some Tron. And it's not the crap on SMR. SRM, I should say. It's not to crap on them, but I think you got to be really careful with something like this. Like, I don't trust that as far as I could throw it. Not that I know anything.
I was just wondering how far you could throw it because, yeah. That's...
Well, back in the day, I had a pretty solid arm. You know, these days.
You know what we did yesterday? I actually put the pitching machine because we had another practice yesterday, 5 to 7. I put the pitching machine, aimed it in the outfield, and just dropping the balls. Well, I was working with the girls in the outfield, but I had one of the coaches, and then there was just firing like perfect fly balls at them. You know, we did some relay stuff and all that kind of stuff. So
it just saved you.
Trying to save
you having to do it.
Yeah. And then and then I turned it around and put it on the mound, and then it was firing off so I saved my arm yesterday.
It's a good thing to have because I know otherwise you're just like.
We do need a Trader TV coin. I mean, we've been talking about that for a minute. And then you guys could super chat in that, and then we could get around the amount of money that Google takes from these super chats. So I thought that was a great idea, but so much.
30%.
I'm just a host.
They get their 30%.
Yeah, exactly. So they're taking it all, no matter what.
It's not a bad business.
No, man.
It's not a bad business.
Every business is a good business.
High of the day break as well for them, by the way.
I did. On JP Morgan.
No. Google.
Google. Yeah, Google was at 177. That was a level that I was looking at.
Not yet. It's close.
Not yet. Yeah, so we want to wait for 177. It opened at 177? No.
No. It opened at like 75.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's almost at 177, actually. Now
almost.
Yeah, so
top.
I just want to say, like, here was a little bit of a review here on some of those coins that we had talked about there today. I mean, you could see Bitcoin, obviously, still the king of the castle there. Ethereum's nicely cooking at 2,600 as well. So that's doing quite well for their holders of that coin. I mean, it was a rough go for a minute for Ethereum until it got going in the last month or so. I mean, it was down to $1,800 there. TJ there. Not DJ TJ, the other one, light-haired guy, basically was talking all about this at like 4,200 or something, and then that was kind of the top, and it was kind of one of those things that people were talking about in that coin. But anyways, okay, there's the move down there on that. Tether, we never want to see that moving away from $1. Ripple, XRP today, hit the sirens up on that one. So I've been pretty aggressive with crypto recently. I really do like it. So I bought more XRP and I bought more Bitcoins, but I did sell out of Ethereum. So I sold out of Ethereum, $100 less than this, put it all into Bitcoin and Ripple. And I didn't add XRP, and I didn't add anything to the Solana trade. I'm not sure. I like Solana, but I just, as far as smart contracts, I'm not sure about them. And then that leads me to my other play down here on Cardano. I'm being lazy with it sort of because of where the cost base is. But anyways, Cardano right there, ADA. I like it, and that was a surprise, like throw into the pool there by Trump when he was talking about the crypto reserve. So here we go. All right, new position alert. New position alert. Power hour alert. I don't know if there's going to be any money involved with this trade or not, but there's Robinhood. We talked about it. At least we gave this to you earlier. And Robinhood right now trying to get going. I said that we'd take that break right there. And if there's a fake, then we'll try to grab that fake as well. But there's the move, a little bit higher. It's not doing anything. It was 10 cents. I only hit the siren because we finally got it. But there it goes. Just came in the last minute. So there's the break higher while the market's doing this. So, all right, could it fade out against us? Yes, it could. But I'm just going to go either 76 clean as our out, but average back in if we can get a 50-period moving average. So we're about 1 unit in right now. We'll put on like another unit there, give us an average price of like 35, which is right there. And then we'll go after that and see if we wind up with an L if it breaks lower. So yeah, pretty confident in this play for now. Not confident, but I like it. I wouldn't have took it. So let's wait to see here what winds up happening with Robinhood. With that being said, because we still have a decent amount on, let's just zoom out a little bit. Okay, we don't have anything recently anywhere near here. As I just said, what was the high? Was a high tick that we got randomly one day. 77.80 on Robinhood. Yeah.
The all-time high I think is like 80 or something.
That must have been, we're showing it right there. That was a few days ago. 77.80. So we did have, so it had some problems here. It looks like at 70 or so before, if we sort of see the daily just in right into there. I mean, you're sort of drawing at, not drawing at straws, but like it's kind of like, okay, I don't, where are we really going with this? So if Robinhood, I think we have a little bit of a target area now that I want to look at. So we sort of have the play. If this gets to 76, like 65, something like that, let's take off like maybe 20% for 15 cents because our reload is 15 cents from here. So let's give it a shot. The market is coming back in a little bit here. Nothing to really be worried about, but could be we only have 3 trades today. AMD, Palantir, which is still in, but very light, and then a brand new one here with Hood. So we'll give it a shot. 76.65-ish for a first piece, and then reloading this long if we get back into this area, 76.25. So that's sort of my new play here. Here it comes right back up. Maybe we'll get where we think we can get here, get some out there, and put a lower bid as well into the 20s. So if we can get that, then we'll rock and roll here with our good friend, Robinhood. But yeah, it's been a good trade. I mean, that's been a good one. It's just, I feel like you kind of need that one early. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Palantir.
In 2021, it hit 85. So it's got room.
2021?
Yeah.
That was just the wild west back then.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 2021, like some of the highs that got, 2021 was the year that everything, we had a real pullback. Like if you think, if you pull up the 2021 pullback versus COVID, you're like, the 2021 was crazy. Some of the highs that got made. So Robinhood made its high back in there. I like IBIT, but I see Tom H mentioning CRML multiple times. A few people have said this. Oh, yeah. 65% to the upside.
It's a metals play.
Oh, it's related to the U.S. government.
Critical Metals Corp.
Critical Metals Corp. That's the one from this morning. 7.7% short flow. We can go to Adara for the update on that story, but it just broke out on volume going into this high. Wow, IBIT is really going. Sorry, Bitcoin is really going as we're absolutely flying back in to the upside on Bitcoin. Look at that great trend breakout here for sure. Let me see what Webull is going to be doing here. Webull's still in a bit of a consolidation, so it looks like it's just IBIT right now, looking super strong. Yeah, we're not able to catch that. I didn't want the break. I wanted to buy the dip in this thing. It just didn't. It didn't make any move to the downside. You're absolutely charging here to the upside. But that's CRML. We can go to Adara for a quick update there.
I did this one earlier. There's no news story on this. I did talk about it during the small cap recap, but the story here is that apparently the company has received a $120 million non-dilutive funding letter of intent from the U.S. Export-Import Bank. Now, this funding is supposed to help the company kickstart its Tanbreeze rare earth project in Greenland. Apparently, this is going to be a 15-year term loan. It's part of the U.S. Supply Chain Resiliency Initiative, and it would help cover early-stage development as the company targets annual output of apparently up to 85,000 metric tons. The total capex they'll actually end up needing is $290 million. So this $120 million funding, under half of this, regardless here, CRML to the upside, 7.7% short float. It is, of course, a critical metals play, as evidenced by the name. So definitely a hot sector right now as well. Back to you.
Right. And in what doesn't surprise me, we've been pretty hot recently in these markets, but there's Robinhood. We get our first area out at 65s. It does go as high as 70 there. So yeah, I could have waited for 70s, but we took the 65 there, and now it's still doing what it's doing, nothing. So we're gonna wait for a pullback into the 50-period moving average, and if it wants to go now, it can go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. We did have for Father's Day, we also played yesterday along with a practice, and we got to choose our walk-up songs for our kids because it was Father's Day. So some of the kids had wrestling theme stuff, and of course Gia had Let It Go from Frozen, and it was hilarious. Everybody in the whole place was laughing because that was her walk-up music, and she was not that embarrassed. She took it like a champ.
Bat flip it.
And it was, she was just hilarious with that one. So I think the last day of school, we have a game in and around there, late June, where they're going to do Mother's Choice. So I'm interested to hear how that comes through. And everybody knew that she was going to have a wild one, so that was really fun with there. And today I get to go see her play her last 3-on-3 hockey. And or 4-on-4. And then after that,
I have one question. You said you control the music at the games.
Yeah, that's at her league games.
Are you allowed to just sort of do whatever you want?
Yes.
Like, so during the play, you can put
No.
okay.
During breaks in the play.
Because I saw something that the Dodgers did, and I was like, you've got to do this. So the Dodgers, I think they must have been playing a rival like San Diego or San Francisco. There was one of those pop-ups in the infield where like everyone's wondering who else is going to get the ball.
Play music during that.
Nobody gets it, so it just drops.
Okay.
And they play the Curb Your Enthusiasm music. Like just to troll.
Okay, during the play? Okay, but there must have been time.
It was after.
Right, okay.
It's the dead ball after an error got made, and then you drop the Curb the Enthusiasm. But I suppose if you do that to kids, that's kind of cruel.
No, I don't do. Well, no, you can't. I mean, it's even in hockey, like you don't play song.
You just crack.
In basketball, for some reason, you could do that.
Like, I don't understand.
You can play little beats and stuff like that as the play's going on. But yeah, no, not in hockey. Yeah, no, that would be uncontrollable. Sometimes, like if it's icing, I'll play like Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, or that, or if there's like a little bit of scrap, there's a song that goes na 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 na. I'm gonna start a fight. Na 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 na. I think it's a Pink song. So so sometimes we'll play that, and but so what? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. And then when I go to sporting events, I listen to like when I go to the Leafs or PWHL, I listen to hear what they're playing,
like
and then then I Shazam it, and then I grab it. So there's some pretty hot.
You can have the standard organ thing too. Like
I do have that too. I have and I have different things like that. But that's more for baseball. But all right, is that for Adara?
Was it? Adara was just opining on the music, I think.
No, okay, all good. 311. So, all right. Again, we actually got out at 25% there of Robinhood. I can get the rest out now if we don't really like the trade. I'm starting to rethink this, man, because since we've had Robinhood as the long, isn't no good for the market here. So that's starting to go to the downside right there, and the market is. It's not anywhere near its lows, but it's near the low of
what's happening
basically the trend right now. Like we haven't broke this until we break through VWAP, in my opinion. And remember, VWAP is where all the buyers and all the sellers, it's the average price so far throughout the day. So anybody trading over this, if you're long underneath it, you've got the W, and if you're short above it, you've got the W, and any sort of a close rate around it is kind of a wash. So we'll see if any of the long traders today decide to support VWAP in and around 21,900 for the Nasdaq, because if they do, then that would be a great drop. And I mean, they've already done it once. It came pretty close about an hour ago, not even an hour ago. An hour ago or so. So came close right into there. And since then, we've made a perfect sort of N shape, maybe an A if I put a little line right there, move back down into the downside. So I would say you're really just watching out for VWAP here to see if that can hold. But for me on Robinhood, I'm bidding right now at 30, looking to take a little bit more. And then honestly, if we break the 200, I'm probably not even going to wait for 76. I'll probably just get out at 76.15 if we do break it. So here we go, back upside right now for Robinhood. Let me take out, there we go. I just took out 5% more right here at 64s. So if it goes upside, great for me, great for this trade. But I only have another offer at 69 right here, right now. That's another song that I have right here, right now, right here, right now. Nope. All right, well, if we get a 69, then great. But there's a trade that I just put on for you here in the beginning of 3 o'clock, breaking right there through the day's high for Robinhood. Trade the strong names, man. And there you go. You just saw it stop there at 69. We did have another piece out, and that piece would have left me with 60%. So if it does come back up, and that's what I get for sitting at, I was on a paying ECN. So I was on the right one there, just didn't get the fill. So hopefully it moves back up, and we'll get that fill there at 69er for a nice little trade, man. 20 cents, we'll take it. Oh, there it is. We got it. We got the 69. So good fill there for us on that one. AMD, remember, if it drops out, we're getting out of that one. As there it goes, man, the market is back in business right now. Nice move up for Robinhood. So there it is, man. We're going to go 3 for 3 today and put Robinhood right there near the top of the board again for us here. So it's been good trades, good share size. We're happy with the trade today. I'm not happy with the trade every day, but today some of the names have been working out. So yeah, I mean, IBIT's a great one too, 108.6. Neil's in that. Neil always seems to be in Intel, so that's a good one.
Well, it's just always, what ends up happening is it makes a top at some point during lunchtime. Every silly day it does. And when it does, usually it's relatively obvious. But I'm going to do that thing where I like it, and this is something that I actually got from Max. I'm like, why wouldn't you do it? where if I'm trailing out and it's weak and if the market's going to go down, it's been in an obvious downward trend. So if I can take the prior low in the first short and have my out just above here at 75, well, just above 75, then I'm going to add to it in the low 70s and just keep the stop in there. So I'm going to add to it pretty much at VWAP in the short because my trail's in here anyways. And if it breaks back up and holds VWAP, then I'm out. I did also dip by IBIT. It was the first available dip, not the dip that we should have got because it didn't want to do it for us. 15 minutes not going to show you that it even pulled back. 3 minute, you can see that it pulled back in here into 75s. Bounced off 75, came back through 80. I got it when it hit 80, and now we're trying to play back into the high. So 108, 108.7-ish is going to be that top. But I'm just looking at the IBIT top at 61.88. I'll throw an offer at 87, and then another one if we get to the 62 even, as Bitcoin's on a rally. The other thing, and I keep forgetting, and this is ever since you mentioned that we actually do have something pretty solid to be able to trade ETH.
Yeah.
ETHA, which I didn't know about it, and I keep forgetting about it. What I needed to do, which I did this morning finally, was I added it to my quote board. So at least when I'm looking at my quote board, I'll remember that it's there and we can trade this one. If ETH, just wanted to point out, not breaking its high, it false broke the top and pulled back, but it's now ranging right back into the highs. It's going to show percentage-wise that it's up 5%, looks a little bit better than Bitcoin or IBIT on a percentage basis, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit weaker, but it's trying to break its high as well. So there goes, you just take the high there on IBIT, about a 10-cent move. I wanted to get to 62 as well. On a 15-minute chart, it is accelerating, and the next stop would be Wednesday's kind of lower high and opening range bottom here at 62 bucks, and that's the 108.8 level for Bitcoin. If we get any kind of strong push, 62.3 to 62.4, that's an out in front of what is obviously the recent big highs that we made intraday at 62.8. So if we can get a break of 62, I'd want to hold the last for that quarter range on IBIT. So looking pretty good so far for crypto, which is going to bode well. If you're trading anything crypto related, it's going to bode well for those. What's also interesting is hello candle on Tesla. Okay, fine. Tesla's still range bound, but I just looked up, and yeah, I still have one of my level 2s and one of my charts dedicated to Tesla. I keep thinking it's going to break this top and just go, but it doesn't want to. It keeps testing the low. Big, strong move here for Tesla. However, if that's going to get going, I think late day rally, it certainly helps. Apple refuses to break down under VWAP, so there's not going to be a short on Apple. It's not looking like today. Bounces off this clean at the volume weighted average price. I liked IBIT buying higher instead of buying this one low, but if you bought VWAP here, congratulations to you. Apple's catching a bit of a bid, and Manny Fresh says go SoFi. That's what I like to see. Robinhood pressing all-time highs, and SoFi at least up. That's what Thank you, SoFi. It'd be better if you broke $15 SoFi. I think we could all agree on that. Certainly been a good name, but it's just where is that big parabolic move that I want to see in SoFi? I cannot seem to get away from this $15 level recently. 1486 right now. This is not one that I would take a breakout in late in the day without some kind of a catalyst, and I don't really see a catalyst on this thing.
Yeah, I like that he mentioned SoFi, but I'm just more impressed that Manny Fresh is in our chat. I mean, shout out to that, man. Let's go with New Orleans. Nolans in there. Give a shout out to your nephew there, Juvenile, and tell him to, keep those songs pumping. Right there.
That bass line. Man.
Yeah, I could listen to
that
different. Up as much as possible.
It's different.
Right there, because there it is, man. Cash Money, Cash Money Records. What's up to Birdman and everybody else? Give what's up to the family there, Manny Fresh. Okay, so we talked a little bit about, let me check out, see what CoreWeave is up to, man. CRWV. Yeah, I think, and I know Sharif is running some options plays on this one. He has September dated, I believe, so it's still definitely a ways away there. But yeah, I mean, anywhere, if I don't know, again, looking at options premiums and things like that, to me, it's just Let's see what happens if it can get up here one more time. I still think it can blow ahead and take these all out. Let me just see. Do we even have details on what the short float is here? CRWV.
Might be early.
Yeah, 7%
Oh, it already, okay.
right there. So 221 million on the float right there. You know, I was just thinking, like, if President Trump joins Israel here and gives the okay to join them, what does that do to the market? Because that's probably imminent. And if that happens, then is that sort of the indicator that, okay, maybe we'll look for some peace? And Iran just kind of like says, okay, that was kind of fun while it lasted? Or is that the tipping point where they go, all right, well, we told them not to get involved, so here you go. So I think that, you know, the Nasdaq being up right here, I always think that there's possibility for late day sell-offs just because of some of that talk. So that's a little bit of a worry for me. So if we zoom sort of out, it is taking that VWAP that is causing me a little bit of angst right now. I know Robinhood, it's my newest position. We do have AMD coming out. Wow. All right, the fact that AMD just went all the way up there, guys, I'm going to put an offer here at 85. I just missed it. Okay, well, now it's... See, sometimes when you offer something, I could have just punched 84. So now I'm giving all this up. It's not on... Oh, there we go. Well... I don't know. We just offered 80. There it goes. Okay, well, now there's something
happening.
Here. So now there's definitely something happening in the newsroom right now. There goes Robinhood right back up. Bang on that one. Let's go again, man. The trading is here. We're here to trade it. Neil and I, we're trading these markets. I was just like, well, I just missed AMD. And then it just came bang right there, gave me that fill at 85. So again, I was saying, like, if you chase stock, sometimes it doesn't work out. But right there, we chased it. It worked out huge. There it was. Good move there. We got, not huge, we got 85s. It does make that move a little bit higher right there. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening. Like I said, man, if the United States joins, what does that mean for the market? What does it mean for this potential war? But or I don't know if it's a war. Right now, it's more of like a battle, I guess. But let's go over and see what Adara has, because that was interesting.
Honestly, the only pump I have here, or the only news I have as we get that pump, is the fact that apparently, according to I-24 News, which is a source local to the Middle East, citing an American source, preparations are being made to allow joining the attack if Trump gives the green light. So yeah, that's literally just as Sean mentioned there. That's only news I'm seeing. Sometimes we get this news a little bit after the move. Either way, though, nice push to the upside for the Nasdaq past that previous resistance on the 3-minute chart. Let's see if anything comes out here, because sometimes we don't even have news to explain these pumps, guys. Back to you.
We look, man. My newest trade, I know Neil has iBit. I think is one of his newest trade. Well, it is. And it's work. Both of these names are working. So there's the move again on. I'm just gonna look, man. It's 322. Like, giddy up. If we can just keep getting these moves right there to the upside, we'll do that, man. I mean, now the 50 period has changed a little bit here. So I think I'm just gonna work with what we have. I'm gonna cancel the remaining dip buy opportunities on Robinhood because we were at 30s. Now we're going upside. Now I'm just gonna use the 50 period as a break to get out. So let's go 76. Wow, okay, here we go. Apparently there's a deal now getting worked on, maybe close with Canada. So that's
I just punched out of Intel.
Okay, so that's a good sign rate for loss, or?
Well, I had 80, flattish. I punched out 77,
okay, so flattish.
Flattish.
All right, so let me just put this order in just real quickly. I just didn't want Neil to get his price in there so you guys could know. 76, yeah, I'm going to use 76.40. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near there. This cannot go against me. I mean, we just put this trade on. It's 40 cents now in the money, and we still have 45% left. So far, so good here. Current stop price, if it runs it, it runs it. 76.39. Let's go, man. It's another successful trade right there for us on Robinhood. So what's up, Adara?
Here on HOOD, pushing into new high of day. So apparently JP Morgan here has filed for a trademark for a stablecoin called JPMD. Now, apparently this is basically going to allow for the trading, exchange, transfer, and payment services for digital assets, including virtual and digital currency, digital tokens and payment tokens, decentralized application tokens, and blockchain-enabled currency. It's notable because we know Jamie Dimon has been quite vocally not a fan of crypto or Bitcoin. So now it looks like here JP Morgan, of course, Jamie Dimon is the CEO of JP Morgan. JPM here reportedly trademarking the stablecoin called JPMD. This is just popping up here on X. As of right now, I'm not seeing anything for what it's worth, recently coming through, but a potential deal here between the U.S. and Canada. I mean, I guess Canadian minister in charge of U.S. trade saying that they're confident with that Canada is making progress. Donald Trump earlier said he thought a deal was achievable, so not a huge update there with regards to Canada, but keep an eye on Hood with regards to this JP Morgan stablecoin, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Derek. And shout out to Ankit in the chat. We missed your super chat there. Appreciate you. GBT on the impacted stocks of the news. SEC's withdrawing proposed rules. This is as of last week. On ESG disclosures, shareholder submissions, NVIDIA, Palantir brokers like Webull and Hood, and crypto exchanges, Palantir and Hood a buy. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, we've liked these. Like those are stocks that we've liked for a bit. Like I'll take the hit on not actually aggressively stink bidding Robinhood enough to get myself in. I ended up not getting any of the dip buy fills I wanted, but let's be real. I bought a lot of things when it was looking bad in the downplay, and one of the things I kept saying over and over again is show me stock that I want to buy, and if it hits a 200 period moving average, if it's something I'm trying to add to my long-term portfolio and I want to build a position, or it's on the priority list, then I buy it at the 200 period moving average on a daily. It's just how I roll. So as far as me saying I didn't get a dip buy in this stock, it's a load of crap, because I should have had a bid at the 200 period moving average, just like I would have, on, I'm just going to throw a name out there, like ARM back in when I got this one. Zoom it out so you can see when I actually bought it off the 200 period moving average. Like when I was crying about not getting into ARM, when that sucker gave it to me, going all the way back in August, I got that of last year. And this is when I waited for it to get to 80 again. But just going back over to what we are in, as I said, the second that volume spike happened, my price was 80. I punched out at 77, which might be the top of the move on Intel, but it doesn't make a difference. I just wanted to get out of the short. Tried to reload a second time here in IBIT, but didn't quite get the bid as the second whatever happened there in the market happened. I got another fill up there at the high, and now it's trying to break these tops one more time. I might give a look at ETH to see if we can't. Like ETH just broke. Like Bitcoin's going, but ETH just broke as well. So this is Ethereum. Yeah, whatever. You guys know what I mean. Breaking out these tops just now. I might take a shot at this. Liquid name, good volume just like IBIT, and it's joining the party to the upside. Adara?
I'm hearing more trade-related news here in my ears. So apparently, Keir Starmer of the UK and Donald Trump of the US are set to agree to enact a tariff-cutting deal. Apparently, this deal will be sealed at the G7 summit. Now, I want to also mention here with regards to Canada, we heard earlier comments that Canadian minister in charge of U.S. trade was, quote, confident that Canada is making progress in a deal with the U.S., but they also said that they're definitely not there yet. So UK-U.S. deal finalization, or I guess being finalized here, looks a lot more concrete or on a better path. Canadian minister here seemed a little bit more cautious as to the timeline of this deal. Back to you.
All right. So there it goes, man. I mean, I'm reading here that Canada is, our trade minister is confident Canada is making. Yeah, it's not ready yet, but I heard in my ear also that Donald Trump saying it's a done deal with Canada as well. So we're going to wait to see, man. We've seen these notes before. So anyways, I don't really know what, I was thinking about it, like, I mean, we could look at a GM or a Ford, but I mean, without really knowing the true details of any said deal, we'll wait for the exact reporting from Adara. That's obvious, but we'll just wait on all this. Like I was thinking, like a GM or a Ford, but that's kind of already been dealt with. They're not moving that much on any sort of an action like this. Aluminum plays, Nucor for steel and things like that. Maybe downside if there is a deal with Canada because. Again, like some of these high X is already being bought out, so that's not going to matter. That's not going to go. But yeah, I could see some Nucor going to the downside if there is some sort of a deal, because then if you can start importing, maybe something there as well. But okay, so JP Morgan, let's go, man. We really like that stablecoin idea. They're up 2%. This is my largest holding in the financial space, period. I got some out at 68. Last time we're just long at 30. It's like we only just put this trade on down here at 230, and it's starting to go upside right now. So just trying to buy the best. That's all. And I thought they were, and so far so good here. But I just did hear that there was a little bit of news, maybe on Citigroup. I don't know, but they're all kind of going upside right now. I'm not sure what the best bank to own would be, other than SoFi. We said that oopsies. We want to thank Manny Fresh there, because SoFi is a Nasdaq name, not a New York name, for this name being up 5.5% or so. So yeah, there it goes. So SoFi again, taking that bump up. I always think that like if JP Morgan's going to do something with stable coins, like you would think that Robinhood and SoFi and all that aren't too far behind them. So we'll watch for a 15 break. That's looking pretty sweet right now. Probably in there tomorrow. Like one good story, you definitely break through there, and then back up to the highs. Even though I am in this name, I'm thinking that we're close to tapping out if we can get to 17 right there. I looked last week and I was up like 20-something%. So I feel like I'm long somewhere. I probably bought. I'll have to look again. I just own way too many shares I have too many names. So I'm trying to get out of some of these names, which is why I'm saying right there, and Uber too, right? So I feel like we probably took this long into there. But yeah, not quite there yet. I mean, I'd like to see something near 17 if we were exactly going to do anything here with SoFi. So yeah, those are some things that I'm looking at right there. And you guys wanted me to talk about before. I saw someone put either a super chat or a mention anyways about DKNG. I did talk about this. It's a name that I like. I thought that story about Illinois adding 25 cents per ticket wasn't that huge. It kind of is once if you're making there's some people make 100 bets a week, so that'd be $25 gone. It's not a huge amount, but sometimes
if they copy
that could be all of your profits gone right there. So, but yeah, DraftKings just coming up again. Like I like this level of $32, and if you got there, which I think I'm going to do some work
for
tonight.
Solar right now.
Oh, Robinhood just. Oh, by the way, all right. So looks like we just got stopped out of Robinhood. Fine. Like we got another out there. So we had 30% left. I can double check how much we had left. No, less than 30. I was going to say about 25% left. What we had there. Look, man, we got our 90 fill. We got 86, 85 probably there. So we got an 80, an 82, I guess, and an 85 fill up to the top side. So that was 40 cents right there. And then we wind up losing 10 cents on that last little take. So with the market doing this, we are now out of Robinhood. Another successful trade there. So we're going to run 3 for 3 today, pretty hot. Palantir, one last check here as we got stopped out there. And we're about to break. So yeah, Palantir right here. Let's just get out of PLTR and end that trade right now if we can get it. Well, I'm at 57s. All right, forget it. Oops, now I'm short because we got 57 and 56. There it is. Okay, we punch out there. So there it is. So in and out there of Palantir. That ends that trade. So we are now done. That one for me, again, a face slapper, going long at 140, getting our best fills up there, and just dropping our last 2% right now at 141.57, so or 57 and 56. Good trade there. And remember where our AMD trade's coming out? So we had about 2-3% left. There's one out, there's another out. So what we have left right now is coming out if we break this wall or this shelf right there. So I'm going to cancel my previous out, which is 125.80, and just get out right now on this break. And then we'll see if there's anything else in the last half hour. 126.30 to give us a $6.50 winner to end the day. 126.29. We will punch out directly if it breaks into that. Because again, the market's not falling, but sounds like we're getting.
But a lot of things are following.
A few things.
Sorry.
That's the thing. I don't.
There was just a weird candle.
Market here.
Set of candles on First Solar. I shouldn't say a weird candle because just as quickly as this had a weird volume spike on pretty much nothing I heard in particular. Maybe there was a story that looped in with all that trade talk, but if there was, I didn't hear it. Right back in, retest the lows, and now trying to bounce again. And it wasn't just them. We've seen some random moves in these names before. Sunrun did the same thing, did a breakout on volume, biggest volume candle of the day, and then instantly lower on biggest volume candle, even bigger volume candle. So it looks like the solar names are once again moving around a bit. I know Steve, when we talked to Steve on Friday, Steve Tauman, he certainly liked the look of some of the solar runners. Not as much as he liked Hims. Hims was his baby. But I think he was more of like, he was saying on the wait and see on those. I want to get to Hims in a second. But I did still have my bid in there to grab this little consolidated bottom on IBIT. So when the market just came in, I did get that fill. Throw the offer back in around that top. And now I want to give a quick little shout out Hims is back to VWAP here, but very strong mover for sure. And it seems like when you look at this on the daily chart, now all of a sudden you're in this like really slow consolidative grind higher. Like it's not a bull flag, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a nice channel higher, which seems like it's headed toward 65. Pretty decently shorted name. And as the shorts get a little bit more nervous, hopefully if it can start closing above prior highs, it's one thing to look good on the daily chart and break out, but it's going to close above the real resistance from last week. Even better if it could have closed above the 60 level, but very much still in the pocket of that upward trend. Just not the follow through that you would like to see yet. I didn't trade it here today. I think if it's above 60, I know I'll be bullish on it if it's above 60 tomorrow. If it were to close here, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere that I'm not a huge fan of, so I'm unlikely to trade it unless I see it pressing above that 6-0. So I bid a little bit of a dip buy. We do have imbalances in about 15 minutes. Haven't looked at the early look, so let me just throw that up for you right now. Not much. CNQ, 3 million to the buy side. That's probably a nothing burger. Under Armour, 1.3. That's kind of a nothing burger as well. Okay, why is US?
Oh my God.
US steals like a 700,000, but that's nothing. That one's going to need millions. That should close at the end of the month and should be spicy when it does. Remember, it's triple witching at the end of this week, which I can't remember the last time we had witching the day after the market was closed. I wonder if that makes it better or worse for witching. But that's a first for me. I've never really seen that before. We're going to have a day off, and then we're going to have triple witching, which is a big volume event. So I bought the dip here. We were getting that 10, 12 cent move there on iBit, but once it broke that support level, I get a couple of cents underneath. It seems that the market's taking a little bit of a dive here, and I don't want to get caught at this top.
I mean, I didn't give them permission to use my waist here, but this is what I got for Father's Day. I've got multiple gifts, but it was the Under Armour Big League Chew boxers.
Holla.
So a picture of me is already up here. For very, very strange, but that's what we got for part of the Father's Day. And apparently I like pickles. I got pickle flavor. So do I, but I was like, apparently I like them a lot more than I thought.
Oh, okay.
I got pickled flavored peanuts and pickle flavored sunflower seeds. So I think what happened was my wife kind of let my daughter, who I coach baseball, have her way. So I got a pack of Big League Chew. I got dill pickle sunflower seeds, dill pickle peanuts, and Big League Chew underwear, basically.
I love the
boxers.
dill pickle spits.
Yeah, that's what they are. They're dill pickle.
Does anyone in your team actually do this?
Oh, they all do them.
Okay.
And I'm trying to ban them because they're very distracting. The hot ones now are the Cool Ranch. Doritos and Spits, I guess, have some sort of a deal.
Not to, obviously, I understand for some kids it probably is distracting.
There's also taco
a lot of
flavor.
kids, a lot of baseball players, there's a lot of sitting around trying to stay focused. And for a lot of times, that's why people did chew. And I think what the thing is disgusting. The Spits, to me, it just kind of keeps you, I don't know, from being jittery into OCD. So it can keep the mind a little bit.
Yeah.
This gives you something that you're fidgeting with at times, which isn't really going to take you too far out of your game. And then it becomes just a little bit of your habit and routine. I used to love the seeds when I'm in the center field. I just found, you'd see what I would play.
Baseball is one of those
sports.
sports.
It is one of those sports. You've got to find something.
95% of the time you're doing nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So for some people, it keeps their mind in the right place. When they have.
We look at Work Sport, WKSP in Cincinnati. Let's just see. 321 right now for Work Sport. So a former sponsor of the show. Looks like it's doing some things here today, up 6%. But if you're looking for charting, I mean, we have that QR code right there. We've done a great amount of work. We're great friends with many people over there at ICE and eSignal. So traders, listen up, man. Your first month is for free. Nobody else is doing this with this platform. I can guarantee you that. We're waiving fees. We're trading smarter, not harder. Upgrade your charting experience to an elite one. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. The platform is eSignal. It has everything. Instant trading. Connect to your brokers. Lightning fast market insights. Game-changing charts. Back testing, so easy to, you could back test the last 5 minutes. You don't have to wait for this day to be over with. Global markets at your fingertips. It's an all-in-one platform. Whether or not you're trading Asian markets, whether or not you're trading the Milan market, whether or not you're trading anything over there in Europe, Asia, futures markets, NYMEX, commodities, Forex, it's all available in one space. That's eSignal. ready to elevate your trading, scan that QR code now and become a eSignal supporter and Trader TV supporter. That will let them know that you are coming from here. And that's the only way to get your 1 month free. So, all right. So again, the reason why we're selling out of everything right now is because just heading into the close, Neil sort of went over the imbalances. It didn't look like anything too scary there. So it's not that. It's just more about trying to be flat here. The market being up that 1.32%. I think it's just had a relief rally from what we saw on Friday. Friday was a complete oppo day where we were down this much, and I thought we could have been down a lot more considering sort of some of the videos. And it's just scary to see all those drones and everything flying over like populated cities and explosions and lots of just unfortunate amount of death there. Even though, you know, we become more specific on the targets and everything like that, there's still no relief there. So anyways, I thought the markets would be a little bit juicier today, maybe even to the downside, but instead we kind of do the opposite of that and go up. So I'm just going to look for shorts now. You never know what this new wave of missile attacks may come, and I sure hope they don't, but at the end of the day, they could. So we'll just wait to see right now, and I think the sell-off at the end of the day is more likely than a rip. So I'm going to be most likely flat. We did talk about getting out of everything. If AMD breaks that, we're going to get out. And we maybe did something a little silly by punching out of everything. But Palantir is now up from where we punched out. Again, it was a smaller piece. So I'm okay with doing that in anticipation of a downside. That's my logic. It could be completely way off.
Well, I punched out on that trade thing, and it ends up being like the worst possible time to punch out of the short on Intel, because it was actually just fine. But as I said, I was averaging it at VWAP. It was breaking a VWAP on what is news to me. If the stock is bouncing off VWAP in an up market and there's news, in a general sense, it probably doesn't matter, some of the trade deals. But this looks like it's breaking down. But what was the name I wanted to go over to? Chris L. I didn't do anything. I did nothing to Apple. Apple just really all of a sudden got strong off VWAP. And look, if you're bullish on something, I wasn't bullish on this stock. I was kind of treating this as Apple was weak relative to the market. If it loses VWAP, I wanted to short it into 197. That was my trading plan. Instead, it bounces, and if you like it, you play it off VWAP in the afternoon right into those highs. So it just drifted when the market did literally nothing. This just drifted all the way up into the tops. Maybe it has something to do with, I think the China deals were the only ones that matter for Apple. So I'm not even going to speculate that it has anything to do with any deal talks, because anything happening at the G7 is not going to affect dealing with China. So I don't think it's that. I just think it's a technical bounce off VWAP. I wish I could tell you I was looking at the long there, but I wasn't. I was actually going to be punching short if it broke 197.60, and it held 197.65. So congratulations if you got some Apple. I still think this one has trouble at 200. It's going to be a good, at some point, this is going to be one of the nicest and most fun breakouts for everybody to take. But you see like lower highs, and it just consolidates off these lower highs. And it just fails to break whatever the previous one, it can't break it. And the last one here was at 205, and it couldn't break away from that level. The second it breaks one of these prior consolidations, bang, then we're good to go. And now all of a sudden you got another lower high forming at $200. The 50 period's been a problem. Once this can close and consolidate above the 50 period and break out that next high, I think you're swinging long into Apple, even if it's not my favorite Mag 7 name. Someone is in control on the sell side here. And it just kind of sucks that that's the case. With only 7 minutes to go to the imbalances, it was QUBT that I wanted to get to. Tom H. Again, this stock. 27%, and this is the quantum name. Not mine, QBTS. It is this. QBTS was actually a red stock for me today. I took it one time at VWAP, tried to join this breakout. It didn't break. At that moment, it's 11:45. Right here, when this breaks down, you've got QBTS. Whoops, QUBT, I mean. I always get these mixed up. You got QUBT at the same time it pulls back off its high. You buy that dip, and there it goes. So why I think it's a fail is I traded the one I know, and which is not the right thing to do. The one that was the strongest today was QUBT. And that same breakout would be a break of the high that held it and then held the dip into the prior high. So it just comes down to, you can be comfortable with maybe you like Rigetti more than something else, but if it's not the one that day, then don't trade it. Trade the one that's going. It was QBT that was going, not QBTS. It's a mistake that I made. If I just go to the other stock, it'd be fine.
Yeah, so I don't want to leave Nimrod here. I mean, thank you so much for those 100 100 memberships gifted there. So I mean, thank you and happy birthday again. Happy 42nd birthday there. So that's $500, man. So we definitely want to thank you for all of that. I think they're all gone now, but that's why we're seeing more people here in our chat. And hey, if you're not a subscriber and you want to get one of these memberships, just hit subscribe, come into the chat, and if you have it all set up, it should automatically hit your account, I believe. So there it is right there. Again, thank you so much, man. That's a lot of members added right there today. You just gave 100 members. 100 memberships there. And it just gets you it gets you green, the green little look there, and then the ability to fire off some of these fun different emojis that we've been showing you today. There's a Sharif, a Neil, me, all of us, a Dara. They're all, I believe everyone's there. And there's even a Randy one I thought I saw. Or was that just a nightmare? I'm not sure, but I did see something coming through.
There was a Randy one?
I don't know. I thought when that was going off there in the midday, there might have been a Randy
That's
one.
the only one we need.
That's what I mean. So that's the only one we need. The market's trying to go up. It looks like there's a Canada-U.S. talk again here. What's up, Adara?
Get a
comments from Canada's Trade Minister LeBlanc saying that they're, quote, confident that progress was made on trade during the Trump meeting, also adding that they feel like they're going to be able to iron out some details here this week. So potentially some resolution for trade, at least as far as the U.S. and Canada are concerned. We know earlier that we heard some reports that the UK and the US are looking to iron out a deal this week as well. Back to you.
They are there in the chat, man. Everyone's lining those up. So again, thank you, Fabian, for doing all of that. Look, this is where sometimes if you're just holding a small piece, you don't feel that bad, but it is a little bit of an upside move here in the market. So, you know, getting out of there and then getting out of, I mean, look, these are all profitable trades. There's nothing I can do, but that last 25%, losing 10 cents, we didn't need to do that as it's all the way back up. But again, like, you know, depending on where you put your stop, like that goes down to 25s. I think we would have slipped up even more and got out at 30, 35. So pretty happy with the way we traded Robinhood today. I mean, like I said, only 3 names back into the space for me. And I mean, if you're going to buy any coin, why not buy Tron coin? And SRM beat you to it if you're thinking about it right there, because they just went upside with huge as they got private placement of $100 million and said, you know what, we're dropping into the hottest dice hand in the world. And we're going to go with Tron right there. We want to shout out to Dave Chappelle. If you've never seen that, that is how ridiculous.
Some people say cucumbers taste better pickled.
Neil and, yeah, exactly. That's how crazy ridiculous Neil and I are. That's a line from, isn't that the crackhead guy?
Yeah, I should have said that when you were doing the pickle thing.
Yeah.
Well, too late.
But let me see what Tron is up to today. So I guess it's not really getting the bump that maybe I don't know. So we'll see if that 100 million goes into Tron or not. But I have no idea what this coin is. But apparently it has a market cap of $1.4 billion.
It's
so
number 9.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's number 9, man. Tron's about to rip up through there, through the top.
Okay, that's bigger than I thought.
How is that?
No.
How is that bigger than?
Tron's bigger than like Cardano.
Tron? There it is.
It's bigger than
Tron. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. That's 24-hour volume. Yeah, 26 right there. So
Okay,
Dogecoin is there. Cardano's 23. Yes, Tron is just taking over.
Look at me, America.
Right now. If I click on it, does it say what Tron is looking to do on here? Oh yeah, here we go. What is Tron? Okay, blockchain based. Okay, so decentralized operating system, much like Ethereum, that aims to advance decentralization of the internet and infrastructure at its core. Tron is a smart contract. For me, I'm not favoring that too much, but whatever. It just depends on what's getting built there. Scalability and high availability, decentralized dApps. Okay, Tron ecosystem. All right. Well, who created Tron? Justin Sun did, apparently. So Forbes 30 under 30 back in 2017. So, all right. If you read this, what is Tron and what is pretty much every other smart contract, it's going to be somewhat similar. So I would say do your research on that coin. Number 10 right there. Maybe Tron will be added to the government's
the strategic
Bitcoin reserve, but SRM likes it, and SRM up to $10 at its high there today. Less than
Bitcoin.
1 minute
Only Bitcoin.
for the imbalances.
Yeah, and the market is catching I mean, it's not a huge bid, but it's catching a decent bid. It's stock specific, by the way. Amazon we showed you Apple earlier, but Amazon retook that high of the day that it was challenging. There was a few false breaks on Amazon, but now it's really starting to go. I'm not going to do anything until the other side of the imbalances in about 20 seconds. There is this HPP at 5 million to sell, and then UiPath is now all of a sudden an early look of 4 million, which is actually pretty decent size for UiPath. Those are both to the sell size. In 5 seconds, we will see what else is out there in what has been a pretty bullish day overall for the market. So here come the imbalances in. DJT, 4 million to buy. I've never seen that before. 2.4 million on Intel. Who cares? Yeah, really not much there. I'm not seeing any of the big cap names yet, but that stands out. DJT is a buy of 3.7. I thought that was going to be something on the locator at the end of the week. Shoot, I might have had it wrong. Maybe that was today. DJT.
Going down on that.
DJT?
Yeah.
No, it's moving up.
Oh, there's the gap. Oh, I only saw this.
No,
it
gapped up. It gapped up from 70s here. 3.8 million to the buy side. I'm just going to see if we have something on the notes for this.
All right, it's better than I thought there.
3.8 million is not chump.
No, that's okay. But I mean, again, it's that, I don't know. We had that story earlier, Derry. I don't know if you know, if you came across like who's producing that phone or who's manufacturing it or not. I wonder if that stock's doing anything. We could see if Nokia is doing,
That'd be pimp if it was Nokia.
Yeah, I don't know, up 2%. I don't think maybe it's nobody. I don't know if those phones, I don't actually know if that's for real.
No, but it's got to be somebody. They're not making it themselves.
Really? Okay, so Intel.
It's got to be somebody.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, who knows? I have no idea. I don't know anything about this phone. So okay, so that's that.
They put
let's just see what happens with DJT because they're the last thing here. So that's a nice move to the high side. How far are we going to go? I mean, maybe stopped out around 1950 here. Something like that is maybe where we could stop. Okay, we've got some more information on the DJT phone from Adara.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting. So I'm not actually seeing as to who the provider is. Oddly enough, they are apparently calling this mobile phone service T1 Mobile. So that is not to be confused with T-Mobile, T1 Mobile. And apparently this is, I guess, follows several real estate deals for towers and resorts in the Middle East. So it seems like this could be based in the Middle East. Apparently, all of these phones are going to be made in the United States of America, which does not answer manufacturing questions. But apparently, in terms of the details, there's going to be a 47 plan, of course, for the 47th president of the United States. Smartphone for $499, and the plan will be $47.45 per month. So $47 and $45 here. Gold phone, we do not have any manufacturing details yet, but that's kind of how the plan will be structured. It does seem like apparently some of this wiring could happen in the Middle East, though apparently the phone's itself built in America. And again, not to be confused with T-Mobile. It's a new company called T1 Mobile. Back to you.
Yeah, that's probably going to.
It makes more sense if they're just maybe they're just going to focus on the plan itself, and then you'll get maybe in I don't know, an older model Android. I don't know. For $499 seems pretty cheap. So, but anyways, the phones don't need all the bells and whistles. Like I went to there's like a nice Motorola one that was at Costco for like $200, and it has like all the capabilities to do everything. So I was thinking like the next time my kids break their phones. But thing is,
don't you just use your old phone? Give them your.
Yeah, we do. Well, they have. Well, not this time around. I got to get I have an iPhone 12 Pro. I got to upgrade for sure. Marissa has, I think, the 14 Pro, so we got to do something about it. So she's going to get that. But the thing is like we just like the fact that we're all in that ecosystem with Apple, so that's what we use it for.
That's why, like Aaron's just when I move to whatever that next couple of pixels, her first phone's going to just end up being one of my old ones.
Yeah,
and easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best thing to do.
I don't want to give her the one, like the old one now, like the 7, because I don't want, I'm not going to be the parent that breaks the ice in her class. I'll let someone else do it. Someone else get that hate. But DJT is really going. It's almost green now. Only 5 minutes to go, or 6 minutes to go, and this just tagged pretty much to the penny. The high here, maybe a couple of cents higher, went green on the session. You can't. This is exactly. I was about to say why I wouldn't chase this, and then you saw the live example of why you don't chase a move like that, because DJT right back to where it started.
It's going to pair
2 seconds ago, Adara, because that's going to pair off.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Trade the Pool. We got a behind-the-scenes look at Trade the Pool. The dashboard tracks your progress in real time, live stats, profit, and more. You can break down every trade, see your entry, exit, and how it played out in the chart. Check the certification page for your full summary, achievements, and payouts. In this clip, that's Michael T. He's already earned over $75,000 in total payouts. Trade the Pool gives you the tools and the capital to go further. Ready to level up? Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code on screen. Back to you.
My alias, Michael T.
Michael T.
Right there.
Booker T is the only. Just one thing on that DJ T.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, if it's a buy imbalance that causes it to move up, what we're seeing a lot is some of these buy imbalances are not waiting till 355 to pair. They're pairing off at like 54 instead of 55. A lot of the big ones. So I mean, UiPath is it's paired off. It was supposed to be 54 and it came out decent size and paired off. HPP also paired off after 55. But what essentially is happening is instead of getting to that 5-minute mark, the imbalance pairs off. And if you don't have a trail or if you're chasing and that 3.8 million buy imbalance pairs, not only do the algos sell it, they also simultaneously drop the bid. So it's like it's double barrel. You better have a stop if you've taken the long on the imbalance, or you take your profit out on the way to the upside. Because once it's already flipped, forget about it. Like that candle is when they paired the imbalance, and you pretty much have almost no chance to get that in real time because everything's just like queued in. Like the algos, they are literally piped and they're just getting this feed digitally, the imbalance locator feed digitally, and they're trading. They're not looking like a human being like ourselves here. Oh, paired off, let's punch. No, it's just already happening in real time. So you got to be careful with those. It was a buy imbalance, it paired, and that drop happened almost instantaneously. Got to remind everybody, we do have a couple of earnings names after the bell today. To join myself and Adair, we'll have Michael Noss coming through. We do have apps. Ooh, we're going to have Digital Turbine is going to be a small capper that is going to report. And the only reason I say ooh is because its implied move is 25%.
Ooh.
In your $5 stock,
Got me
right?
saying that. Ooh.
I'm just saying, it moves $1, that's 25%.
Yeah, what's up with my Roblox?
But it could move
What's up
$1.
with Grow Garden?
Roblox
Go
can
Grow
move
Garden.
$1, but then Roblox is a real stock. Nothing against Digital Turbine.
Yeah, shout out to Grow Garden, man. Set the record with over 26 million online participants at once on Grow Garden right there, and doing amazing things for your boys' portfolio, man. We are loving Roblox. This is a crazy daily chart right there. Yeah, just keep on hitting those sounds, man, because Roblox right now, that's a gut punch to anybody that's short right there. But yeah, Roblox, amazing stock, amazing game. Grow Garden, I know nothing about it other than you can steal people's stuff and fun. And people are talking about it. Yeah, you can go into gardens and steal stuff. It's supposed to be really, really crazy game, but everyone's doing it, I guess. Maybe if I just talk it up, it'll keep you. No, I don't need to talk it up. I don't have a huge position in Roblox. It's actually one of the stocks that my kids only own a few stocks, and one of them is Roblox. So Microsoft, Roblox, and I'll double check what else they own. But yeah, so that's a nice move there on RBLX. So there it goes right there. All right, so that's what's going on right now. Neil's going to get out of here. Right, 2 minutes left to right. See you later, alligator.
See you at the desk, everybody.
Yeah, see, I won't, but everyone else will. Okay, so CoreWeave, yeah. All right, we can have a quick little look here to see. I mean, I'll show you the imbalances. You know, Neil and I don't have, again, we have interest in what these imbalances are doing, but it's a little late in the day for us to do anything. We cannot hold overnight, so that's not an excuse, just a fact. If we could, then we would, but we can't. So there it goes for us being able to hold overnight, unable to. So anything that you're going to see here on the show needs to be flattened out just at 4 or shortly after 4 o'clock. PC&G, okay, that's not doing anything again. These are the not pipeline power company there, I believe, in California or the West. I don't know, but I remember PC&G from a long time ago. Oopsies. We don't mean to sort that via alphabetical. There it is, 80. Okay, so NVIDIA does go buy side a little bit at the end of the day. You could see, okay. Ooh, OpenAI accusing Microsoft right now of some anti-competitive practices. That's not going to be good. So we'll wait to see what happens with Microsoft right there. Maybe they didn't invest enough money into them. But there we go. Right now with less than a minute left, Again, scan that QR code. Thanks to Trade the Pool. We'll see what SoFi has a small. Oopsies, that's Pfizer. I saw SoFi. Oops, there's Apple. It's gone. Everything's changing as we go. Let's check out Marvell. So we really like Marvell. Let's check out the biggest of the bears. Let's go with Big Bear AI. Okay, 413, boom. So we're pretty much flat now on our position. We're long at 420, which isn't a great call, but we'll wait. I would have liked to get a little bit longer, lower. So, you know, if there is another opportunity to do that for Big Bear AI, we will do it. I think it's Lennar, AppLovin, was it tonight as well? Yeah, Turbine Apps as well. Okay, there we go. This market close brought to you by Oragenics. We want to thank them for sponsoring 2-1. Thank you, Adara, for sponsoring the closing bell. Oragenics, go check them out. Listed OGEN, and that's the concussion, and we talked about that with some ad reads as well. So thank you to OGEN for sponsoring the closing and I believe opening bells. So thank you for that one, and OGEN, go check them out. Yeah, Big Bear AI. I mean, look, when the market closes, right, all these NYBs, maybe, oh, there's the market on close and balance trade right there. 713,000 it looks like for a marketing on close. Order type, so right now you see the offers pretty layered right there, not much on the bid. So we'll see if that means anything in it tomorrow. Then let's just see where DJT went out at. It's funny because in my ear, all I hear is like, wow, DJT going crazy here at the close. But you guys already know because you found the show. And it was only going crazy because there was a $4 million share, buy and balance that got wiped out. And as soon as it got wiped out, you turned around. So that's like an algo trade. If you can, and again, here at Real Trading, you can actually slip into the feed and program these imbalances for something to catch, something like that. But again, just with your bare hands and eyes, that's very hard to do. So there's the flip up right there on DJT. Upside to 1950, back into 1850. That's a pretty dramatic move. It has nothing to do with the market other than some inside market dynamics, which is the closing market on close and balance. Thank you so much for watching both the first show, midday show, and our last. We definitely have to say a big shout out here for, again, we just got a new member. Shout out to that as well. What's up, Simrat? And thank you so much for Nimrod as well. And a big happy birthday for those 100 memberships. That means a lot to us. Okay, it's Michael Noss, it's Neil, it's Adara, it's the recap show. Until I see you tomorrow, we'll talk then. Ciao.
Thank you so much, there, Sean. Thank you to the viewers. Shout out to you. Happy birthday as well, Nimrod. Welcome. It's such a bullish day today that it kind of sucks that the first story in the afternoon is a negative one here potentially for Microsoft. We are expecting some earnings to come through. We're going to have Digital Turbine. Lennar's not until expected to be at 5 o'clock.
It'll probably come earlier.
Probably not going to get them. We'll see. They can usually come earlier than that, but it was expected at 5 o'clock. We'll certainly get Digital Turbine. But we had that Microsoft story that just hit with OpenAI, Dara.
Yeah, so basically what is happening here is the Wall Street Journal is reporting that apparently Microsoft executives have discussed accusing Microsoft of anti-competitive behavior. So this is all very wishy-washy, probably why the stock didn't move much in the end. Apparently they've discussed making complaints to antitrust regulators. And yeah, I guess it has to do with the company's acquisition of a different company, or I guess an attempted acquisition of a different company. It has to do with, also has to do with Microsoft's, I guess, stake in the startup after its conversion, getting reported by Wall Street Journal. They're just apparently locked in negotiations. It's all very, very, hand-wavy, kind of unclear what's happening here, but there's some type of accusation of anti-competitive behavior. It's not official yet. Negotiations are apparently happening. Also, Lockheed Martin on watch. Apparently, they have named a new vice president and CTO. His name is Craig Martell. The stock is not moving. It was down today. We are waiting for APPS and we're waiting for LEN. Sometimes these ones that say they're going to report at 5 actually report earlier. So who knows? But we're going to be waiting here with bated breath, and we will give that coverage for you. We're also going to be hearing from Michael Noss. Yeah,
Digital Turbine actually just broke $5 here. Closing right up at the top and still showing some strength in the aftermarket. It does have an 8% short float, and as we said at the trading desk, almost 25% implied move. 24.6% on the implied move, was only 2.4 last time. Certainly one that it has done some parabolic movement before, but at the same time, well, it's gone from $2 to almost $7. It then came all the way back to $2. Now trading at $5. So this one will fly around a little bit here. Certainly a name that, as long as it moves, it potentially sets you up for tomorrow for some trades. But hey, we've seen this before. You get a big implied move, and there isn't a lot of action, and then all of a sudden, the only ones winning are those that are writing the options there for apps. Certainly worth watching. But yeah, today was a nice, strong gap up day, and just hold it. A lot of strength happening overall in the market. The only disappointment that I want to, at some point, going to have to address how weak Tesla was, but I wanted to mention, the Nasdaq up that 1.5%. All the bad news and all the geopolitical issues that we're having, and as horrible as everything is, and there's no discounting how bad war is for everybody there, we're still just a stone's throw away from making this high break on the Qs. So I think everything's looking absolutely fantastic for the overall market. Let's see how it looks for Digital Turbine. Well, it's flying higher as it's just chewing it up and spitting it out. Now 17% up, breaking $5.50. What are the numbers? Hopefully decent.
Apparently, Q4 revenue of $119.2 million. I was not seeing revenue estimates for them when I checked, so I cannot compare those to revenue estimates. Earnings here, okay, so let's see. Non-GAAP adjusted earnings of 10 cents per share. Looks like a beat. I was seeing estimates of 4 cents per share, so good look there. Okay, apparently this revenue as well was 6% year-over-year growth. I'll say that especially because we don't have guidance that I could see. Another Q4 non-GAAP adjusted EBITDA apparently up 66% year-over-year. Fiscal 2025 revenue $490.5 million. I'm trying to see what other highlights here. So yeah, I guess 6% year-over-year increase for quarterly revenue is mentioned. They've definitely narrowed their losses per share here on a GAAP basis. Again, adjusted, they actually had earnings, which is positive. CEO Bill Stone saying he's extremely proud of the company's execution. Normal earnings things. Let's see if we have Lennar yet. Again, not expecting it till 5, but it could come earlier. It has not arrived yet, Neil. If I see anything more in App 11, or sorry, not App, I wish it was App 11. If I see anything more in Digital Turbine, I will let you guys know.
Yeah, and Digital Turbine goes right into what looks like, it's about 570. I typed in the chat 560, but that's a mistake. It's 570 here on the daily, as you can quickly see. I'm going to show you that it did break 50, goes into 60, and already pulling back. So essentially gapping up into the first area of resistance you can find on the daily chart, and then a little bit of a pullback here for APPS. Not moving as much as the implied move, so still very much inside of the range. 8% short flow isn't crazy. It's respectable. This is certainly one that can move tomorrow, but if it's unable to break above 570, then you're double barrel. You're not breaking resistance, and on top of that, you're not getting past the implied move either. So you wanted to break that level for sure, as far as I'm concerned. I want to also acknowledge we were sort of talking about the market there for a second, and before apps came out there, I wanted to get into kind of what was leading the way. There are a host of chip names that were super strong. Led by AMD. I would venture to say that NVIDIA wasn't even that impressive, relatively speaking. AMD really kind of taking the cake there. They had a release of a new chip last week, and they got an upgrade today, and they closed above the 200-period moving average on the daily, breaking this downward channel that we've been in for quite some time with a very key close here for AMD. Now, all that matters is next, technically, can you hold the prior high, which is 124? So regardless of what it does here at the end of the day, kind of on the 126, holding 124 is going to be key going into tomorrow for that name. And as I just said, NVIDIA, it's not that NVIDIA had a bad day or wasn't fantastic. It's up a couple of points, but, and there is a but here, it broke that 145 on the daily and then came right back and closed underneath. So a false break of the 145 resistance, you're going to need to see this one clear that out at 145, still running into trouble up at that high. The chips, lots of strong ones out there. I could pull up ARM, I could pull up Micron, I could pull up Marvell, all very strong, but I'd say a little bit disappointing for NVIDIA in that regard. Just to go quickly over and see how apps is doing. Yeah, still in the midst of a little bit of a pullback here for apps. It's going to need that 570
I have guidance
for sure.
Too.
We have some guidance here. Maybe that's what they don't like.
Their guidance, yeah, the guidance is kind of So they're guiding fiscal 2026 sales between $515 and $525 million. Midpoint of that, it would be $520 million, which is basically in line with estimates of $519.64 million. So in line earnings, or I guess earnings estimates there could be worse, could definitely be better. Just to recap here, Apparently, they were seeing analyst estimates of $116.64 million for sales for Q4, which beat the report here. Or I guess, sorry, let's read. Long day. It's a Monday. $119.15 million in sales for Digital Turbine. That beat estimates of $116.64 million. As mentioned, Q4 adjusted earnings 10 cents per share, beating estimates of 4 cents per share. Good look here for APPS. I think on AMD, one thing that I'm going to be real here. I don't know if this kind of continues into tomorrow. So for one, we keep trying to break. We honestly, at this point, we triple topped at 128. We cannot break above it. Now, we don't have a total sell-off. We just kind of peter out. But with AMD, to contrast it with like last week's epic runner, which was Oracle. I'll say we had a couple, but I would say Oracle is the best one. Oracle had its best week in 24 years. The difference with AMD is the catalyst isn't that strong. Like we keep saying it had an upgrade. It had a price target increase from Piper Sandler of $15. They kept its overweight rating. They did not upgrade the stock. So I think that's a really key point. The fact that we're running like 10% on such a weak catalyst, I don't know if that necessarily
Some of this is
passes
technical,
muster.
though. Some of this is what's
That's
going on with
fair, too.
AMD has been technical since it broke the. Come to the daily chart for a second, because I think you've got room to 132 on this. I'll get to the 132 in a second, but there's something about this that AMD, from a technical standpoint, last week it essentially ran into that 200 period moving average, and then we closed on bad news right at the prior dip by 115 level, which was support. And that's where we close that bottom. So it's bouncing off of that part of the range, and then you just simply got a quick retest of resistance. Now, why I say 132 matters here is if you look at when this broke down, here, let me get rid of this for a second. If you look at when this broke down past some, like the support from last week in September, you had a dip by here at 132, another dip, and then when it broke, consolidation, test a low, this was a lower high at that 132 area again, and then fade underneath. So this little fail of the support area really culminated with 132 resistance. So I think that's where we're headed on this move until we get there. Like I think possibly a sell at that point if it gets there tomorrow. Certainly if we break away from that, that's where we're talking about this morning, a move into 150. Up here makes a little bit of sense for advanced micro devices, but it's not like they're alone. Like there were plenty of other places you could go to. Like we don't really even talk about ARM that much. Whoops, and I just typed in. I meant to type in ARM and actually typed AMD again. But this is a name that was up almost 5% today. And when we say sometimes things were making technical moves, when you're stair stepping to the upside, a lot of times all that happens is you pull back into obvious area, go back into obvious high. And then the next step is to break that high and then do it all over again. So these are all just, we're in a bull market. Things are looking strong. I know we're going to have Michael in a quick second. Before we get to the NOS boss, can we just shout out URA for a second? 6% uranium. Let's go uranium. And the reason I have to, I'm like obliged, and no one's going to get this. But when I was in junior high, I was in this nerd competition called a Think Bowl, and you had to come up with, basically it was a long, you come with this massive problem, this whole process that your team goes through to come up with a solution to some kind of a world problem. And then you got, at the end of the thing, you have your idea, then you got to do a skit at the end, and this one dude in our group, for whatever reason, like it was something about like alternative energy, and he's going to be the bad guy in our skit. And he just walks around talking about like nuclear power because for some reason we were against nuclear power at the time. And his song was like singing uranium. And now we're singing it for good reasons. I don't know why back then we thought it was bad, but right now it's good. And right now it's trending. And nuclear names are super, super strong. Whether you're looking at SMR here, I like SMR up 10% today. 21% short float, made another 52-week high. I know these things, well, like some of the quantum names, they don't necessarily hold up with the revenues that they have relative to the prices. But at the same time, this is pure momentum, and if you're standing in front of the train, you're getting run over in this group for sure. Something that we talk about all the time. The trend is your friend. Technicals are technicals. Fundamentals are a different story, and they definitely have their place, and I'm not going to say anything bad about them. Something that I know our guest, our good friend, the NOS boss, would echo as well. Let's get into some trader talk. Ooh. Hey, Hey-o, Michael.
Oh, look at that.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome. We got Michael Noss in here from Stats Edge, our good friend. At least I hope you would echo what we say all the time about momentum, that there's a place for there's fundamentals, there's technicals, there's momentum, then there's sort of like your actual nuts and bolts of the company. Always try to keep those, it's left brain, right brain. There are times when I'll blend them together, but with the case of some of these solar names that I was pointing out, you've got to be able to suspend some of that fundamental brain to be able to get those wins.
Yeah, and I think it's no different from a pharmaceutical company or even quantum computers, right? There's no such thing as quantum computers, and there's a lot of these drugs. There's no such thing as the drug. What you're betting is the future of. So same with SMR and NNE and OKLO and all of these crazy things. Is you're not looking at what the company's doing now, you're taking a bet that in 10 years, 20 years from now, you're going to see small nuclear reactors all over the place. And then you're taking a bet on which of these companies is going to potentially win that race, because at some point they'll grow into the valuations. At least that's the thinking of the traders, and that's kind of Kathy Wood's thinking on a lot of this stuff as well.
Yeah, she definitely thinks that. Very aggressive with the plays as well. Look, Michael, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can talk about here. Obviously, we got geopolitical news every 5 seconds, whether it's trade deals, whether we're talking about the war in the Middle East ongoing right now, has defense names going to be in play. We've had crypto be absolutely spectacular, Bitcoin. We even had a company take up Tron and then go a bajillion% today, a small cap runner. So there's been a little bit of everything. What was your focus on the start of the week?
Well, I think the lack of reaction to the geopolitical events over the weekend, I think that has to take center stage. We talk about this all the time, me and you, Neil, where it's not the news that matters, it's what does the market react to the news. If there's something that's generally speaking, obviously supposed to be bad news, and we rip, then that's bullish for the market, and vice versa. And yeah, just looking here at the SPY, we gapped up today, and although we gave a little bit of a back in the afternoon, the open was right near the close today. So if we take a look at this candle here, and I'll just zoom right in, there's very little lower wick. And when that happens, when you have kind of that open right near the low, then it just, tells me that we're pushing higher, that this thing is booming. So that's generally happens with algorithms, right? Someone turns on an algorithm on the open and says, okay, buy stock. So that's super interesting to me. And that was about it, other than the crypto space, which I'm sure we can go over later. I think that has to be the focus. If we're shrugging off bad news, it means that there's positioning problems, and there's people who are not positioned correctly, and they need to buy, and they're going to use every dip or every scary event geopolitically in order to do so.
Yeah, I think I echo that same thing. I think that's a fantastic look when it comes to not just what is the candle, what does it mean? Because oftentimes we've seen this in this market. A lot of times, whether it's the SPY, you're looking at the SPY there, so let's stick with the SPY. When you get up to a top like this, where we've gotten so close to the all-time high, but we haven't quite breached it, the market's really slowed down in this high, to the point that even when things were really bad, as you pointed out in the morning show, it's not like we even dipped all that far. So when I see that kind of consolidation, it's a little bit strange to see the open be that low. A lot of times you think you'd be a little bit more choppy. So it was very clear, despite the fact that we are in what it seems like a little bit of a range mess. My question sort of becomes this: as we're working our way and people are starting to buy back in, are you looking to just stick with the strength? Are you looking at some laggards? How do we play it in here? Because if you're looking at the overall market, it's a tricky place to buy. You're in a tight range. I mean, for a day trader, it's fine because we can only just sort of buy the low and that kind of a play. But if we're looking at the overall market, like the SPY or the Nasdaq, we're right here, right now. It doesn't really give you a lot of range to have dipped into. It doesn't give you a lot of press until you get to that high. Are we waiting for all-time high breaks? There's something that you're looking at which would be lagging that will now play catch-up as the market goes to the top?
No, I'm going the other way. I'm looking for things that are already breaking new all-time highs. So I remember months ago now, I talked to you guys about ITA, and that was defense. And that was right here, right before the all-time high was breaking, or as the all-time high was breaking. I was saying, hey, this broke before new all-time highs before the market. That's generally speaking bullish, and the massive move that we had there. And then Hack, I remember saying the same thing, hasn't really stuck the landing yet, but is holding nicely above these highs. So some notes I just made before I got on here, that's why I keep looking over there. But UFO. So UFO is cleverly named ticker that just represents all of these space names. So it's got, ASTS and Rocket Lab and all of these different names, has to do with space. That's not necessarily a new all-time high, but it's definitely breaking out to new highs and highs of the year, 52-week highs already. And that happened so far today. A couple of these, ARC even. I don't know when it's been since I've said that, right? Kathy's on fire, but she's getting very close to her tariff tantrum high as well, and a huge gap up, and actually closed relatively strong today. So just like always, I'm going through the relatively strong names, and I'm trying to see if I can find something in there, because there's a lot of it out there. A lot of things are starting to get closer to all-time highs before the market is.
And conversely, instead of looking for things that are maybe lagging the market, if you have something that's already breaking out, if we hold the range on the bottom of the dips, you can buy them back into the prior highs. If you break that, at least you've still got the prior highs to work back into if it's been trending up. If you buy something that's been lagging, you might not have some technical levels. Can we just go back to, I have this UFO up because that's just, it's the best ever. But that's not the one I was, it was actually ITA that I wanted to ask you about. Okay, so I know I said throw out all fundamentals, right? But how much, when you're trading this name, and no one likes conflict, no one likes war, it's obviously bad. Let's just get that out of the way. But is there something that would you ever scale up in a trade like this because you have two things working for you? Like it's breaking when the market didn't break those highs, as you said before, but also it then fits right into an actual theme with the news cycle right now, where you're getting something which is already breaking out and already relatively strong, and then on top of it, at the end of the day, we do have a major conflict going on that tends to make these stocks stronger. Does that ever factor into your trade decision here, or is it still going to be pure technical?
No, everything I learn about the news is completely and utterly against my will. Like if I could design it, I would just be in a little bubble where there would just be price action. But keeping that in mind, just looking at the price action, I most certainly would add to winners. But what I want to do when I add to a winner, I'd want to add to something like ITA, potentially if it broke out of the 180s here, in a way that I could kind of raise my stop up below maybe this crazy hammer candle here. And then if it just reversed and stopped me out, it was still a great trade. So I always add to winners kind of around okay, but if it comes back and gets me, it's still a great trade. So a way to kind of pyramid up. But for me, it has very little to do with the news, right? This could be a kind of tinfoil hat moment or whatever. But the fact that we broke out way before there was conflict, and then now that there is, we were actually down on the day. One of the only ETFs that I'm on my screen that was down on the day. Somebody knows something, or the market's just one of those things that it doesn't react to news, and quite often will do the opposite of what most people expect. But in this case, yes, if we got a consolidation here for maybe another couple weeks or something, we broke out, then yeah, I would add to my position that I have down here from 160 for sure.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to kind of double down on that you said that is fantastic. If you're adding to a winner, you predetermine, well, if I was going to add to a winner, it wouldn't be the news. It would have to be, I like the consolidation and play back into like a new stop where you tighten it up. And that's an important point, everybody. Obviously, averaging up is a good thing because it's working, but you want to make sure you've created yourself a new out as well when you average up. Because I've seen traders do this where they average up. Look, it's going, and they still have their original stop. So it's like it's working, and they're just increasing their risk with the same original stop. That's not the idea. The idea is Joe says it's like a little bit of a free roll at times. And I love that look. I just want to make sure technically we got that up. Have your out, which is always important before you make that next entry, even if it's in the money, not just out of the money. Can we talk some crypto here? Because I'm excited about what Bitcoin is doing. I think IBIT, it was a good long today in IBIT if you had it for the day trade. It's obviously, Bitcoin's been cruising. maybe another all-time high test going to be coming in pretty soon. This is something which has been trending higher, but actually saw ETH also make a move. And it's really not just Bitcoin that is going. As this tries to break out, have you found anything that is relatively strong within the crypto space that stands out to you, or are we still waiting for Bitcoin to get past this 110 level at some point?
Well, I think that will be the ultimate test for a lot of these cryptos. So I have Bitcoin up here, and this 110 level was just crazy. So I'm just going to zoom into this. This was 110 before we hit, and you can see we just have these topping tails. So it would get to 110. This felt very kind of algorithmic, that there was someone who's just saying, that's enough, get me out. And every time we've had these pretty dramatic sells off of 110. So we are itching our way back up there. I want to kind of have the market test that area, and hopefully whoever is there is just gone and we just blow right through, right? So even on the daily chart, it's kind of more pronounced. Just 3 days in a row where it's just a brick wall it hit kind of at this 110.5. So through that, maybe we hit new highs. I'm glad that, I've just kind of been waiting on the sideline for something to happen here. But Ripple, I think, has to be something talked about today, where this is probably one of my favorite charts in crypto right now, just because I love a clean support area that gets this kind of stop run, or the kids, I think, are calling it liquidity grabs now, or whatever you'd like to say, where you had this attempt to push it under this support, and under there you just found a whole bunch of buyers. And every time we've touched this kind of $2 area, there's been buyers. And today had a very nice move. You're talking 4 or 5% up there in Ripple. And if we end up breaking this kind of pretty clean downtrend line, it's interesting. I think there's an XRP, if anyone wants to go crazy. That's a double leveraged long Ripple ETF. If you want to get fancy in the equity world, you can play around with that just a little bit. But XRP is very interesting to me if we can break this downtrend line, because we have a very clean out. And for my trading, I just love a clean out. If I see it close under $2, I'm gone. It's like $2.30 now. That seems like a reasonable price to risk. All-time highs are like $3.50. So even that's a good percentage risk reward. If we get through all that, I don't know, maybe it hits 5. That would be a double, which would be pretty insane.
I love trend lines, Michael. So I might take that trade. Thank you, Michael. I'm just, you know what? That's about as real as I can be. So it is what it is. That is gorgeous. It gives you exactly not only is it a support, but it's a support which already ran stops. Some kids call it the lit grab instead of liquidity grab, whatever you're calling it. That $2 definitely gives it to you. And then once you break that trend, I love that declining wedge breakout. So I might steal that one from you.
To ever say, I can't say lit grab. I've got too much gray in my beard. I don't think I'm allowed.
Yeah, you
I think
can.
they'd kick me out.
Michael, you're younger than me. B, I'm pretty sure I've got more gray going on than you do. You can say lit grab. We'll get it out of you eventually. There. No, but I think it's a fantastic look. That's a trade that I think everyone could probably get behind from a technical standpoint, and in a space that we all like, and in a space which is going as well. So you have a lot going for you. Before we get you out of here, Michael, any other thoughts that we weren't able to get to?
Just some of these more speculative sectors. I think we have to, call it animal spirits or call it whatever. The psychedelic sectors has almost doubled from here with, some stocks like MindMed. Again, full disclosure, I own some of this from about $5, looking really nice. So you have Quantum, right? So QBTS, you've got Quantum holding up nicely. You have space doing well. You have psychedelics doing well, which I don't know, might be another way to say space. But these are not names that you generally see pushing higher and moving higher if the market is worried about, an economic event or, a global macro event or recession or something like that. People wouldn't be kind of full porting into psychedelics and quantum and space names. So we're seeing the animal spirits. So I'm just focusing on those sectors that are getting really hot. And when they die up, then maybe I'll go and, look to play gold or something like that after that. But as long as these things are cooking, I want to stay in that trend with them.
Yeah, and it always comes right back into it. Stick with the trend. The trend is your friend. Truer words have never been spoken. I want to personally thank you, but on behalf of all the viewers, thank you for that chart there on Ripple, XRP. That looks very, very nice. Mr. Nas, Michael Nas. Also, Sean said it this morning, but I'll echo it because I didn't get a chance to say it myself. Happy belated Father's Day, of course. Hope you enjoyed it this weekend. Appreciate you there, Michael. I can't wait to talk to you at the end of the week. Hopefully everything continues to rally the way it has. We all love a bull market.
Let's hope. Bull markets are more fun. I'll see you guys on Friday.
Absolutely. Take care, brother.
Yeah.
See, that's what you got to do. You got to take the great mind, bring them in here, and then tax the ideas. So XRP, I like it. You'll probably see, well, you won't see me do it because I'll probably do the trade on my Coinbase account, so I won't be doing it live on XRP, but I'll probably pick some up if it breaks that channel. There was, before we get into roll call, there was something here on UNH, Adara, right?
Yeah, it's more kind of UNH updates. Bloomberg reporting that the company is cutting commissions on some Medicare Advantage plans, so not a huge mover, just something to be aware of. Also, I was seeing some people in the chat ask about Lennar. They were saying they were seeing Lennar earnings tomorrow. That's because Lennar's conference call is tomorrow. Some of these companies that report in the evening, they'll do their conference call in the morning. That is the case. I checked on their website. They are actually reporting their earnings tonight, but the conference call will not be until tomorrow, and it does look like this is going to come at 5 p.m. as expected. In case you missed it, Digital Turbines here was a double beat, revenue and EPS beat. Guidance mixed right now, kind of chopping, but certainly up here from, I guess, this initial move. So good look.
Yeah, it wasn't able to actually break through that high on the daily chart. That's why we kind of show those levels as it comes in. Does not beat the expected move either. So a couple of, while it's up 12%, and while they did beat, a little bit of disappointment in terms of the momentum trade for tomorrow. But we'll see. It could always break that 570 tomorrow, which would be fantastic. Maybe it pulls an AMD. Maybe it pulls I would say Circle, but Circle was actually down for most of the afternoon. But it's an unbelievably wild day. It's always good when the market is strong, especially when we've had so much bad news come around. But I also wanted to give a big shout out to all of our viewers. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. All the support. Thank you to Nimrod, all those gifted memberships, and happy birthday to Nimrod as well. And I want to remind everybody, if you want to be in the chat and spread the love like we're about to do with the roll call, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button. I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button. That's my angry black voice. I actually have my Yahoo email. You can at me with it. It doesn't really matter. It's the one I use for junk. I love that gag. But shout out to everybody in our community. Right now, what I want you to do is give a big shout out to my man Fabian, who's still on the ones and twos, despite feeling a little bit under the weather. I can hear it, brother. You're doing a fantastic job. Shout out to Andre as well. Shout out to Ramin on our socials, killing it. Shout out to the Bash brothers. Give them some love. Joey Options and Treat. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Brendo, who's back from vacation. Shout out to Obi, who was filling in all the time for us. Shout out to Adara, making sure we all do not trade blind, which is a really, really big deal. We've come to rely on Adara. What would we do without her at this point? I don't even know how I get news. What am I doing? What's happening in the market? But as you do that, just type that love in the chat, and let's get some roll call action.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Neil. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Sean. Thank you to Shree. Thank you to Joe. Thank you to Brendan. We have Ramin, Fabian, Andre, Obi last week filling in as well. Shout out to Obi. Shout out to Jeff Free, 69, Michael Mendoza, Jim Kramer, Indecisive Candle, Adam Deleuze, Pitchbull, Jai Singh, Neil Roberts in the chat here saying, go Stonks. We've got Ravine Millionaire Rahul, Derek Thompson, Adam Deleuze, Bob the Dog, Susie Fox, Lazarus, Daryl Flinch, Dexter Did It, Discount Printing Experts, Terry Dinkelberg, Michael DCA, Mark and Stevens Johnson, Go Bills, Green Day Dean, Tia, Yao J, Jim Kramer, Christopher Jones, T-Man Cool 24, Tyrone Hamilton, Smokey Love, Cookie. We'll end there. Thank you guys so much for being here with us every single day. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Hopefully Lennar earnings will populate at some point.
Oh, they will come in at some point. We'll be right there for you. And when the earnings call comes in tomorrow morning, we'll be right there for that, either in every single headline and all the trades that we can muster. Why? Because we're Trader TV Live, and we'll see you tomorrow.